Chucky got the sauce, bitch.
Fresh stream, baby. Put up in a matter of seconds. And we are here. Elise Parker already in the chat. Wow. Amazing response time. Elise, does the thumbnail look familiar to you? She's driving, everybody. So we gotta cut her some slack. Vegan deterioration. So early in the stream. Welcome. Jem, hello. Hope everybody's having an amazing little Sunday. We're going to have, actually, this stream, I should have done a little bit better on the marketing hype, but Phil Escott is like an OG carnivore YouTuber, so this should be a very good, exciting stream today. A fun stream. A lot of people know him. People are big fans, like Jem. Exactly. People be knowing about Phil Escott, so it should be a good stream. Huge fan of Phil's. Gung Fu, what's up, buddy? How you guys doing? I'm just sipping coffee here. Hopefully the webcam is looking crispy. I made a couple changes to the way that it works. It looks damn good on my side. I don't know. I'm thinking it's working good today. What do you guys think? Better than the old camera? I got this shit on fire. Phil is the godfather of carnivore. Frankie won't like that. Uh-oh. Frankie. I wrote a big, long response to Frankie, and he responded to me finally the other day. He finally gave Drew a little piece of Frankie love. Hang on, let me adjust over here. Let me talk to you guys over here. Elise's bulge. Is that a thing? The bulge? I think I'm qualified to make some educated statements on the Elise transvestigation. Hopefully CMC doesn't have you guys, searching for Bigfoot out there. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so Frankie, I wrote him a nice little response on his video, the one where he's outside, and Frank. First of all, Frank is looking pretty good. I gotta say, he's got his arms looking pretty good, and you could definitely tell that he used to have a lot of arm muscle. I do want to say that because I remember he's made some claims like he used to be real jacked, and I kind of didn't believe him. And then you can see that he has quite a bit of stretch marks on this area, which means that he was probably a lot bigger. You don't typically get stretch marks in your bicep from just being fat, so I'm sure Frankie was as big as he says he used to be, which is cool. And you're noticing Hench is looking very, very ill and old. Yeah, so I made a comment to Frankie. I said, I think you're missing the mark a little bit here. He's talking about how other people have special interests and people are supporting them and this and that. And I was like, man, you've caught a lot of luck yourself, bro. Like, I found your channel late 2018. You're not even in this for a year yet, and you only had 5,000 subscribers back then, and then not even a year later, you're at 50,000. That's pretty good. Like 9 months, he was already over 50,000 subscribers. That's a very quick rise on YouTube, especially in this area where there's already like 1 million people doing this type of stuff, right? So I said, hey man, just be grateful for what you already have. You're doing great. You're You've already had a bunch of business opportunities come your way. He's obviously got the meat thing going. He's got the Frankie's ball grease and his hair products and all this other stuff that he's got going on. He's obviously doing some forward movement. He's doing well in business, and if he keeps at it, he's going to keep blowing up. People know who he is. He hosts live streams. He hosts 300-400 people live streams. People throwing money at him. Like, man, what are you complaining about, dude? You be grateful for what you have. You know what I'm saying? He's a young guy, obviously, and he's still I think he's a little bit caught up in the personal drama of this stuff, and he's trying to make some waves a little bit. But I responded to him and I said, hey, you are complaining that other people aren't taking you in, but I've personally seen you disrespect me or at least not give me any acknowledgement in your streams. I came into his stream a week ago playing around. I was like, hey, man, Frankie, what's going on? I want to make fun of some vegans with you. Let me hop on. What's going on? A bunch of his fans were writing to me in the chat. Drew's here. Drew's here. They're all tagging Frank, saying, Drew's in the chat. Like, get him on. That's awesome. And Frank didn't even respond to me. He didn't even say, what's up, Drew? Nothing. Didn't even, his whole chat was full of people talking to me. And he just glanced over it. So I know he saw that. I know he read that. And I didn't, I don't take it personally. Whatever. If he doesn't want me on the stream, that's cool. But I made it known to him, hey, you did this to me. So if other people are doing it to you, then don't be so upset, because you're the one throwing that out. I've never given Frank any reason to have an issue with me. Yeah, I've never given Frank any reason to have an issue with me at all. I've never said a bad thing about him. I've never even talked crap on him whatsoever, even really in a joking way. So for him to basically glance over me like that, it just kind of shows how he interacts with people that are lesser than him. You know what I mean? So I let him know that, but I said, you're welcome on my show anytime. That was how I left it. And then he responded to me and he said, the reason he hasn't interacted with the carnivore community is because of people like Paul Saladino being supported by Bart K. And I was like, what does this even have to do with anything? Bart K supports Paul Sal. Who cares? What are you talking about, dude? You're bigger than both of those channels. What are you talking about? And it's really weird. It's really weird that a regular guy in his 20s wants to compete with a guy like Paul Saladino, who's a full-fledged MD doctor. This guy should be getting more attention than you. We live in a very weird world where the doctor wasn't giving a little bit more a credit than you are. No offense, Frank. No offense. There's nothing conspiratorial about that. You know what I mean? It's weird that he has an issue with that. So anyways, yeah, Philo Dice, I remember you being there. I think you even shouted me out. There's a bunch of people that were shouting me out, and it was just weird. So Frankie says he stopped building because it looked strange on his smaller frame. What is he talking about? You can see that he has been putting on a little bit of muscle mass. I'm happy for him. I'm glad that he's doing that. Eli the Science Guy says, I'm happy for Frank and his success, but he needs to drop the ego. He doesn't need a team or community, but the drama is silly. Yeah, I mean, he's getting a lot of good opportunities. So I don't know why I don't know what he has to complain about. He should be pretty grateful, in my opinion. He's basically making a full-time career off YouTube right now. That's pretty much, once you're at that level, then don't be complaining, man. You're in a spot where everybody wants to be. You've made it to the first meaningful tier of being a YouTuber, if that's what you want to do, So I think he should just kind of chill out a little bit and be grateful for what he has. But hey, he's a young man. He's going to have to figure this stuff out himself, It's all good. Daddy Drew can't hold his hand all the way. Yeah, JG saw it. Yeah, he saw the post. I made it on his video. I don't have anything personal against Frank at all. Nice. Phil posted the link today in his Facebook group. See, Phil's just such a likable dude. Everybody just respects Phil pretty much on YouTube. I'm sure he'll disagree with that and be like, dude, I got so many haters. But yeah, so we got Phil Escott on today. Should be a good little time. And Daddy Drew at least knows about the daddy. Jem says, don't worry, Drew, you may be a smaller channel, but you get all the big names. You don't need Frank. it's about putting out good content. You know, you could have the big names, but you could be boring as hell. And when you have the big names on, it's about bringing out the best version of them that you can when you're sitting there in front of them. You need to have focus on the guest. You need to make it about the guest. When I have somebody on my show, it's not about me. It's about bringing out the best version of the guest and getting as much juicy, good information out of them as I can. Stuff that I would personally want to know and that I know that the stream wants to know. Frank has to realize he's not Weston Price. Not yet, Frank. You know, you're on the path, man. Like, it's all right. Paladai says, controversy is one more way to get the word out about the vegan agenda. I'm okay with it. Yeah, you're right, man. Creating a little bit of controversy, there's nothing wrong with that. I've done it myself on my channel, but with truth and genuineness to it, I think. Authenticity. The videos I've made, the rants that I've made, that's why I don't just keep harping on the same stuff. Like, I make a rant and I'm just done with it. That's it. I don't need to continue the drama. It's not like a what is his name? Shane Dawson or whatever. Like Trisha Paytas. Like, I'm not here to be a drama YouTuber. SBG Rule says, I understand Frank because Saladino blatantly stole his idea patterns. If you don't see that, I feel sorry for you. Yeah, I don't really have any more comment on that. I mean, you know, Frank is talking about carnivore with people who are doing carnivore. Like, what is there to really talk about? You cook fucking meat. You know? Saladino is a doctor. He knows more than Frank. I mean, if they were going to go be put to a biology test and go be judged by a panel of people to see what they actually know and what they don't know, you don't think that Saladino is going to come out ahead in that? So how could he be stealing Frank's ideas? That doesn't make any sense. They both learned it from somewhere, right? Frank's not creating this stuff out of thin air. He's doing his little Google research and PubMed research and just like everybody else. Phil Escott says, only vegans hating so far. Fingers crossed. Yeah, I was one of those vegans. We'll talk about that too. Damn, I had a question for Phil that I meant to write down. But, you know, we'll see how we go today. The Israeli dude says, I disagree with your point on the MD. According to it, we should all follow veganism because all the vegan doctors are on YouTube. Well, think about it this way. And this is what I always think is funny, because I've been commenting on a lot of vegan channels lately, just stirring the pot a little bit, just letting them know that I dislike them personally. I personally dislike vegans, you know, just deal with it. And so I go into vegan channels. Vegan Gains was one of them. Hench Herbivore commented, and I said, Hench, you know, I'm back to eating plants a little bit. My digestion is messed up a little bit like yours. That's weird, isn't it? And then all these people started commenting, going crazy on me. Of course, you know, I know how to just like drop a little bit of like sprinkle the dust in there, and then the fucking vegans go nuts. It's like chum in the water. And so this guy's talking about, well, we should be vegan because all the doctors are vegan. No, they're not all vegan. And this is what the vegans keep telling me on YouTube comments. They're like, you know, you're a science denier. You're a science denier. I'm like, what are you talking about? The science recently agrees with a little bit of the principles of a plant-based diet. It's what nutritionist or dietitian in the world that isn't vegan and has a personal interest in veganism is promoting a 100% plant-based diet for their patients? There is not a single one in the world. So if I'm the science denier, then why hasn't the world caught fire on veganism and 100% plant-based diet? It doesn't happen. It's not happened yet, and it won't happen because veganism is failing after a few years, and the doctors don't just see one study and just jump all over it and start recommending that to every single patient. It's not how it works. Things have to vet themselves, you know, over time, over years, 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And veganism has not done that. And so people are delusional, thinking that the vegan science has all of a sudden created this unstoppable, indisputable theory. That's not how it works. That has not occurred yet. Give me a break. Not even close. Not even close. So the vegans need to just chill out. Jem says, you're certainly not boring. You are a fantastic host. Thank you so much, for real. I stopped watching Frank when he was saying there was no community, like his 50K followers don't count. Ouch, right? That's a little bit harsh. I appreciate every one of you 4,532 subscribers, even though some of these people don't even like me. You know what's interesting? 64% of my audience is female. That's interesting to me. I totally would have thought it was opposite. Jeremy R says, have you seen any of Salad's other content, bro? Way better than I expected. He was just on Mercola too. Yeah, dude. Saladino's going big time. So rather than hating on the guy, just see what he's doing and maybe collaborate. Damn. You should try to interview Jason Blaha. Maybe. That guy's been around forever. I don't know if he would ever even mess with me. He's a YouTube OG. If I wanted to complain, I could, right? Like, I've been on YouTube for, I don't know, technically 3 or 4 years, but I haven't been making consistent content. I have no reason to complain, but I've been doing it longer than Frank, technically speaking. Philo Dice says, FYI, I'm a female belly dancer, ex-vegetarian, formerly dying, currently thriving, I hope. Hitting like early because Phil is awesome. Hell yeah, hit that like button, baby. And if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. Shell F says, hello, Drew. Frank is a whiny bitch? Ooh, come on now. You don't need to be that mean. Oh, Gung Fu says, how's your gym train? Dude, the gym. I mean, can't you see we're already wide? Look how wide we are already. The camera, I had to put it on widescreen just to pick up the shoulders, bro. I'm getting back to old form. I've been in 3 times. It's been feeling amazing. I absolutely am loving the gym again. Hands down, I'm glad I went back. It's what I needed. And the results are already showing slightly, but the strength is already creeping up. I'm very impressed at the meat gains, bro. The vegans have no idea what they're missing out on. Go eat 150 grams plus of meat a day, animal foods, and you will have natural strength that continues to get stronger and more impressive every single day that you step in the gym. Your body just wants to work. That's the way that I can describe it. Your body wants to lift the weight. Tina Knox says, a vegan messaged me on FB, the movie Earthlings, because I liked a guy's comment saying fuck veggie burgers. I had a vegan this morning messaging me posts that they screenshotted from Elise's Facebook from 4 years ago and sending them to me in my DMs. And I was like, I just put question mark? Like, what is this? And they posted another one from her 2015. It's like, what is this? Like, there's even a paragraph that Elise wrote. Let me read this because this is key. This is important. Important stuff. So, of course, she doesn't even... This is what it looks like. This is the type of dumb shit that I got to deal with. Okay. So she posts the thing, right? This little chick. And I was nice to her. Look, I put question mark. The last paragraph is the best. I hope you guys can read that. Thank God for this new webcam. I can do cool shit like this now. And so the last paragraph that Elise posted, check this out. Expand your mind. Don't turn away from the issue. Open your eyes. Wake up. Be part of the solution. We can do this together. So if you just ignore all the vegan propaganda at the top that she posted, and you just read the last paragraph, you can see that paragraph will last forever in time. Because that also means expand your mind. Don't turn away from the issue. If the issue is veganism, plant-based diet, and it's messing your body up, don't turn away from it. Try and fix the issue. Be part of the solution. Wake up. Boom. Thank you so much, Elise. And I even said that. I said the last paragraph is the best. And she goes, yep. And then I put, it's unfortunate animals have to die for our human health. Unfortunate the way the world works. I'm glad she was smart enough to understand that. Crickets. That's how you shut these people up. They got nothing. They got nothing at all. They just realize, froze. I'm not smart enough to respond to that. He got me. Like, get out of here. Didn't even have to be mean. Okay says, I think Drew eats a somewhat mixed diet. You could call it that. I had burgers and fries and beers all weekend. I'm definitely putting on the belly fat. Don't be expecting any ab shots anytime soon. But I am getting stronger and I am feeling pretty good. I need to fix my digestion, which means that I have to clean up the starches. I have to get rid of the starches. And it's already working. It's already fixing itself, so... Don't worry. Philo Dice says, oh, come on. Most of the vegan channels have no higher education of any kind. The vegan teen channel's cooking. I mean, Freely has no qualifications, 100%. Gung Fu says, what's your thoughts on doctors worldwide? Don't know much about nutrition. I mean, that's true. They don't know much about nutrition, but I feel like a doctor that puts his effort and focus into learning about nutrition is going to come out a bit on top of like your average 23-year-old YouTuber. Like, give me a break. They have a lot more information about biology. They're obviously a higher level of intellect. We need to remember that. Not everybody's created equal. If you're a doctor, you're pretty smart. And if you're putting your focus towards something, you're probably going to get a little bit further with that. Assuming that you're not bought out by some industry that's paying you to say certain things. Jack Hunter says, have you talked to Goatis? No, I have not. He says that I'm too small. Is that what I saw in there? Zombie Mukbang, Drew, you're kind of pretty, hence female audience. I like that the guys are the ones that comment all the time. The girls are just lurking behind the keyboards. I'm okay with that. That's pretty funny, though. Jack Hunter says, you look vegan, Drew Morgan. Thank you very much. I find it strange that Will Schufelt has never mentioned Chris Kruger. Yeah, I think that he adopted his program from Chris, and he got his results from Chris. I don't know what the deal is with that, but, you know, I'm not involved in that. I don't think Drew is interested in talking about trannies. Did he say something about trannies? What did he say? Let's see. We don't see ourselves clearly. We tend to focus on stuff that's not a big deal. Don't be so sensitive to my criticism of Frank. I'm not very sensitive to it. I get all kinds of wacky comments to me directly all the time. I'm not too upset about it, believe me. Anthony Reynolds says, I had roast potatoes and salad today. Potatoes are my kryptonite. If anybody has been around my channel, for some reason, potatoes, starches in particular, like there's some combination there that are just, they kind of mess me up. And beer, I'm noticing, especially the hoppier kinds, the IPAs, those mess me up worse than like your standard beer or alcohol. Like hard liquor I'm talking about. Zombie, I'm sorry. I know you're a girl, but you're one of the only people that consistently writes. And then we got like a few others, Honest AF, and then, you know, of course the YouTubers, Elise and Vegan Deterioration, they come through. Ooh, Philo Dice. Drew, I twisted my ankle last Sunday on vacation. How long does a carnivore take to heal? Depends how bad it is, but I feel sorry for you. Did you get blue above the ankle bone? Because if you got blue above the ankle bone, then there's a chance you have a high ankle sprain, and I recommend doing whatever the hell you can to make that heal better. Drew, favorite video games? I haven't gamed in a long time. I'm sorry to disappoint you if you're a gamer. I have not gamed in a long time. The last game that I played, though, was... well, I got back into League of Legends. And before that was like PUBG, Fortnite, all that stuff. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'll just stop reading what you're writing now. I'll assume it's not for me. Drew, try gluten-free beer. Does that exist? Is that real? Starch is good food. Dr. Gregor said so. The little bugs. That's exactly what I imagine in there. Just like eating the starch and just giving you gas. Like they're just proliferating and just giving you hella gas. Jack to Jackson. Hell yeah. Burgers, fries, and beer. Yes, I had quite a bit of that yesterday. But I feel amazing today. I feel very good today. We woke up early. Me and Elise woke up early. And we drove straight from her house to my house, which is an hour away. I feel fantastic. We made it to the stream on time. We've got to make the thing and invite Phil in a second here. Give me un momento. We'll do an ab shot real quick. You know what? I told you guys. I'll be transparent with you. If we're losing ab definition, you deserve to see it. Okay? I need to be held accountable here. I'm not just gonna hide and pretend that the abs aren't fading away. Let's see here. I need to make sure that Phil can hear me. Drew wants to be sexy. It is true. I do want to be sexy. That is the only goal in life, in my opinion. Wow, I wasn't running a noise gate. That's weird. You just take that off. Screw it. Don't need it. Okay. Default microphone. Jesus. There's so many buttons. All right, sending email to Phil. Hold on 1 second, guys. All right. Okay, cool. Drew, can you twerk if I give you $10? Hell no. What does this look like to you? Do I look like a just body for sale? Do I look like I'll just take my shirt off because somebody says, Drew, let me see your abs? Does this look like what that is here? Huh? They're fading. They are fading. Absolutely fading. I got low butt. I have low butt. Low butt syndrome. God damn it. No pack pops. No pack pops. Sorry. No pack pops. Say that 5 times fast. What did I log into? Peasant's Daughter, welcome to the stream. This is high quality content here. We're about to have one of the most famous people in carnivore. But before, we have to disrespect ourselves before he gets on the channel because I don't want to have him be involved with any of this nonsense. Trust me, I'm not going to get all fat. All right. I promise you guys that. I'm not going to get all fat. I'm going to not get worse than this. I'm tightening it up very soon here. And then I'm going to start doing HIIT cardio. I already have a plan because you guys know I'm hitting the gym 4 to 5 days a week. And then I'm going to start doing 20-minute high-intensity jogging sessions where I warm up for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to run at pretty much full capacity until I can't anymore. I'm going to stop and then just kind of walk, let that fade off, and then hit it again. I do like 5 sets of that. Jack Hunter says, Drew Morgan, you are tiny, bro. Get those toxic tatties in ya san? What does that mean? Oh my God. Let's see the leg progress. Okay. You know what? Phil isn't even in here, so I'll show you the legs. The legs are despicably tiny. Burn those carbs and you'll be okay. Yes, yes. Drew needs to shout out Australians in chat. I freaking love Australians. They're probably my favorite people outside of Americans. I do love Americans. I mean, I'm American. I'm proud to be an American. I love Americans. But don't get me wrong, I love Australians. I think they have an awesome culture. They're super funny people. They don't take anything seriously. That's my kind of shit. Norwegians are cool too. John Venus, you know, he's okay. He's okay. Sprints are the best for your legs, literally pushing the earth away at max explosiveness. I do struggle with running because I did bust my ankle a couple years ago when I told you guys about that on that Hawaii retreat. It's in my video. If you guys haven't seen pictures of that, it's like a very foul injury. I wouldn't, if you're squeamish at all, I would not recommend watching the video, but it's pretty bad. Get this out of the way. How about Canadians? What about Canadians? Can you talk about raw meat and electrolyte supplements? I don't do much raw meat. I've recently done raw calf's liver. I will stick to the weight shell. I've recently done raw calf's liver. It's good to supplement with, I think. And electrolyte supplements, I don't think it's necessary for the most part, unless you're doing some extreme fasting or something like that. What does your training program look like? I'm working out 4 to 5 days a week, full body workouts. and I'm hitting every body part. So what I'm doing is like, let's say I'm going to do, ooh, we got Phil in here, guys. Give me 1 second. Phil, can you hear me, Phil?
I can hear you.
Beautiful. Give me 1 second. I'll pull you right in. I'm just answering this one last question. So I'm doing two sets, working sets for each exercise, each body part. I'll do like a little warm up set, and then the 2 sets got to be pretty hard. The second set should be pretty tough. I'm looking to get about 5 reps max on it. And of course I'm doing full body workouts. So I'm hitting like the same things 4 to 5 times a week. And I'm hoping that puts on a lot more mass than I've seen in the past. But we'll see how that goes. If not, I'm just going to start doing a push-pull type of split again, and I know that that's effective. So we are going to pull Phil Escott in, guys. We have him locked down now. Hope you're all ready. Phil, are you ready? Bam! Phil Escott, everybody.
Hello, mate.
Welcome to the channel, Phil.
Cool. Nice to meet you at last. I've even gone for the uniform as well.
Oh, perfect.
I thought it's time for a wife beater.
Absolutely. The wife beater. That's probably the best name of any article of clothing I've ever heard in my life, by the way. So, Phil, I used to do like these big elaborate intros, but I feel like people know who you are, and I've named you the Godfather of Carnivore. Like it's you and Sean Baker. I feel like Sean is like the general of Carnivore. He's like the, you're a little bit more posh with your message. People don't really come after you and hate you so much. You're not there stirring the pot quite as much, which is we need dudes like you. That there's guys like me.
That's
who are
really sweet, man. Thank you. It was funny. I was listening to it earlier on, and I've been following it a little bit today because I had some time. All this politics and stuff with Frank, and it's funny, isn't it? I don't know. I don't get it really. I don't get it at all. But that's the way it is. I suppose that's human nature and everything, isn't it?
It's just it's the people who are good at maximizing the algorithm is what it comes down to. Because causing drama, putting other people in your titles, pretending to be upset, kind of over exaggerating drama, it gives you content. It makes people respond about you. It gives it's all the game of YouTube is the way that I look at it. And the younger guys that are like the younger people in general, like I'd say 25 and below, they've all grown up knowing about this stuff as a second nature thing. The drama on Instagram, the drama on YouTube. But when it comes to the health space, I think that a certain part of it should remain sacred. Like we should be talking about proper, as much science as we can, as much experience as we can. You know what I mean? Like this shouldn't really be a place for drama.
Well, yeah, absolutely. It's funny for me. I just think that everybody's got their own thing. I mean, it's funny thinking that one person is better than another or something like that. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's if somebody wants to follow some young dude, they'll follow Frank. If somebody wants to follow some old bald dude, they'll follow me. And what the hell, we've all got our own people. It doesn't really matter. We're just putting the same voice out. It's bizarre.
That's true. And it's funny because you're like the last guy that I came in contact with as a vegan on YouTube. When I was vegan, I was like starting to research the carnivore stuff, and you came up, and I was like, fuck this guy. I was like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Like I thought I knew everything as a vegan, and I was like, I wrote you like one comment, and it wasn't bad, but you actually like kept engaging with me in a very thoughtful, but you weren't taking my bait of like, I know I'm pretty good at getting people their feathers ruffled. They want to argue with me. They want to fight with me, and you weren't doing it. And that was fine. But it was like, it was bringing me down the rabbit hole further of like, now I need to research this. Now I need to research this. And 2 weeks later, I'm eating carnivore. And then I messaged you. I'm like, dude, carnivore now. Sorry, I'm an idiot. I'm sure you get that a lot.
I thought that was, no, I don't get so much, so quickly like that. I mean, there's a lot of people who've been vegan who then you see their health fail and this and that. But, I mean, why I engage with you is because you just seem so reasonable. And I'm and unless they can, you know how sometimes they come on full caps shouting, and so then maybe I'll block them, but I'll engage and I'll chat with them. But it's because you never know when someone's going to need you. I remember the horror of it, and I remember the horror of how sick it made me.
So
you're going on about training and putting size on and stuff. I mean, what it caused me, I lost years and years. I used to be really big, like 99, 2000, maybe 97 to 2000. And then I got pretty fat. But the veganism thing around 2010, it just lost me all. Okay, it lost the body fat. It lost me all my muscle too. And I ended up absolutely emaciated. And, I still feel real skinny. And I've only just, the thing is with carnivore, it makes you feel so good you get lazy. For the last 4 years I have been. But now I'm really training again. I've even put on like 8 pounds since that carnivore retreat we did in Spain. And it's really exciting to come back again. But when I see people like that, and I think, well, they could be losing decades here. I did, with the wrong information. And so, it's lovely to see people come back. But you were never one of those. Well, I don't know. You weren't to me anyway. You weren't one of those crazy militant ones telling me I need to have my kids taken away and I hope I die of cancer and all that shit. So
no, one of my methods, and this is me giving away the game plan a little bit here, is like I like to push people. It's like I don't know if you watch fighting, but Conor McGregor, he's great at this. He gets people in their heads before they even fight with him. So he gets them emotionally invested in the fight. There's a bit of anger and fear, and he gets them really on the back foot before the fight even starts. And for me, when I'm really testing somebody's knowledge, how sure they are in what they're saying, I want to see how much of it is emotionally, if they're coming from an emotional place or like a truly thought out, well thought out place of knowledge and experience. And that is what struck me when I was messing with you. You weren't dropping like the teacher facade and then engaging in this emotional battle with me. And I would have just been like, okay, he's just one of those guys now and I can just move on. What he's saying is actually BS. It's more that he's emotionally invested in this idea. You weren't emotionally invested in it. I could tell you had been there and done that. And your information then seemed a lot more valid and genuine in my mind. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, that's sweet of you to say so. I mean, it doesn't always work. I've got a video on my YouTube channel at the moment. It's a real shame that the audio quality is crap because we just had one mic and it wasn't really enough. But I had a debate with a young vegan called Rhys Davis in Liverpool, and I thought, okay, I'll record it and stream it live and whatever. But what a crazy day! I mean, this guy's got he's got these weird little bits of science, and as my friend Dr. Jeremy Ayres said, he's kind of who was there and saw it, and I've never seen him silenced before. He was like, oh my God, what's going on? And he's got these little bits of science that he's sort of wodged together into this Frankenstein thing, and it's really quite dangerous because he's got the makings of a bit of a cult leader. He's very, very, very good looking, charismatic, but there's a lot of pain there. And I wouldn't be mentioning it. I've been putting off making a video about it actually, because I just don't like the politics, even if it's a personal kind of one. But, I thought, well, I'll chat about it today, but it was an extraordinary evening because
what happened?
Well, it started off, my friend Janine Azalea, she's great. And she decided to do this event of like chatting about carnivore. And then she said, oh, well, this vegan wants to debate you. He's not militant or anything. So I thought, cool, I'll do that. And I looked him up and his videos were a little bit strange, a little bit non sequiturs and incoherent, whatever. But anyway, so he came in and he was kind of cool. And he brought a few little followers, and there was probably about 30 people in the room. And 5 of them were vegan. I found out who was vegan to start with. And as the evening went on, it just got more and more crazy. And some of the things that happened was really strange. They'd turn it around. The first thing I said was, look, 99% of what we both believe in is the same. How about tonight, all we do is we bring meat up from this satanic level and bring vegetables down from this beautiful godly realm. And kind of just be in the middle. I don't care what anyone eats. It's their own business. But, that wasn't good enough. There was everybody was cool in the audience. Everybody, vegetarians, omnivores, carnivores, whoever was there was really cool. But the vegans, all of them got aggressive at some point, you know, and bringing up the whole cannibalism thing, you know, and I could see Jeremy with his head in his hands when somebody brought up the cannibalism thing, and I'm going, I can't take it seriously, man. I'm just saying, well, if you're on an airplane, you know, and it crashes in a remote area, you're going to be looking around for the biggest buttocks, you know. You are. You're not going to survive. There's no quinoa up beyond the snow line, you know. And it's, you know, it was, but there was no humor. It was just like, drop the mic. Oh, he's disgusting. He's a cannibal and all that kind of thing. And then there was one bizarre point. It was my friend Elliot Overton there. You know, he's great. He's an incredible authority on plant toxins and all kinds. You know, very educated dude, way more sciencey than me. And he was sitting there, and then this other vegan guy gets up, who's a bit of a personal trainer and whatever, and he was saying, I don't believe you've seen any sick vegans. I said, you're lying. Just okay, what? Why would I lie? Why would I lie? You know, most of my carnivore group is ex-vegans. I'm an ex-vegan. Oh, well, you were never vegan. That comes out. And then I just plain don't believe you. And then he said, well, the thing is that a carnivore diet is completely unsustainable. Nobody's ever going to want to eat that. I opened my mouth to answer, and he goes, debunked, 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 really shouting.
Right.
And you're like, wow. And then Elliot took the mic and he said, I have a practice, you know, I have a nutritional practice, and I'm qualified, and I see a lot of vegans and they're very sick. And he's just going, I don't believe you. You're just lying. I mean, why he thought we were actually there to lie, it was so weird. And at the end, you know, the young vegans were all sort
claiming
of clustered.
Victory?
But, hey?
Were they claiming victory, the young vegans?
Of course, they always do. They always do. Yeah, it's going to be a bad night for the carnivore. I've schooled them and all of this sort of thing. And then Reese at the end, he had his own book, and he kept reading out of it, you know, at people. There was a group of people sort of in front of him, kind of looking a bit shifty, and their eyes were glazing over, and they were going, you know, he's reading out of a book, all these passages, and if he felt they were losing their attention, he didn't sort of think, oh, okay, you know, he just started shouting, watch, watch. It was really bizarre. And then one of his friends, I mean, he felt so aggressive to me. I thought he was going to stick a knife in me. So I wandered outside, and everybody else regrouped outside. And eventually he had nobody that he was talking to. But, you know, I feel bad for talking like this, because he's a really sweet guy, but something's, you know, gone wrong with the brain, as it so often does. And then later on, he started posting weird stuff about me, how I'm a, you know, I didn't even understand one of the words, a carnivore. So I don't know. It was very weird. And a cannibal. I'm practicing cannibalism and stuff. And so is it Phil Escott and Tim Sheaf are practicing cannibalism. I'm like, it's weird, because I know he knows Tim Sheaf from the past, and I know Tim Sheaf, and Tim Sheaf's got to be one of the most reasonable dudes out there. I mean, the flack he's taken from vegans is just ridiculous. But it was so strange, you know. I mean, that was the video I was going to make really there, but I haven't really got round to it, because, like I said, I don't really like the politics, but it's just because he's been posting this bizarre stuff about me. I thought, well, I will actually sort of at least post something and say I would warn people off this dude, and I really wish him well, and I hope he recovers. But he's horrifically brainwashed and really influencing people, and it's a very weird thing, man. It's very weird that when there's and you clearly weren't like that, you know, you didn't have that absolutely no receptiveness business, but when you come up against it, particularly, you know, on Twitter, it doesn't matter. On YouTube, it doesn't matter. You laugh it off. But when you're actually in a room, the vibe is so bizarre. It's almost, and this is a horrific word, but it's almost evil. That's the wrong word, but it's just depressing, low, and all the things that they think they are, you know, the high vibration and all of that. And it just isn't, man. You know, this is why I've started my podcast, the Carnivore and Beyond podcast, because I see people having it, you know, I'm from the woo-woo side, and I've spent far more time in the whole spiritual thing than I have in the carnivore thing. And I see it really mending people's spirituality. You know, you see it mopping up depression and bipolar, schizophrenia, all of these things. But also you see people saying, I just feel so much more grounded, so much more earth, so much more in touch with the universe, if you like, than I did when I was vegan. And so I'm kind of bringing that out in that, and bringing these great spiritual people in who've brought meat back into their diet, whatever, and take it from that angle, because I don't think anybody else is, because all the vegans think they're so incredibly spiritual. And that's very bizarre to me as well, because I've been through that for decades, you know. Really odd, that one.
I think from the vegan perspective, there's like this time period, especially if you go raw vegan or you go on like a juice fast or something, it does do this thing to you where you're able to sort of connect with yourself and your own feelings more. But it's almost like a mechanism of the body when it's deeply conserving itself. Like, it's not from a place of higher ability because you're physically weaker. You're physically degenerating 100%. There's no doubt in my mind. So how could you be getting mentally stronger as your body is physically weakening? What I've learned from this is a total Drew Morgan theory here, is that when, like, I have come to realize that I think dying is somewhat of a natural process, right? I think that makes sense on a textbook level. Dying is a natural process. But I think your body sort of gives up. Like, have you ever seen an animal basically give up? Like a dog you may have had to put to sleep, or an animal in the wild. They lay down and they just breathe heavily and they're nervous, but they kind of know that they're done. They let the world know that they're basically ready to be taken. And I think that is like a self-induced thing that veganism, and especially the raw vegan and the really far end spectrum versions of it, when you start doing this stuff, you start getting more in touch with like death essentially. And your body is like going through that natural process of getting closer to it and being okay with it. And I think people mistake this for spirituality because they're literally like getting closer to the door of death. And that's not a good thing. Like when you're on the meat and you're on these type of vibrations, you want to live. You want to like live more. You want to lift more. You want to go out. You want to interact. You want to work harder. You know, I've gotten my drive back to go be a corporate person again and go start actually producing things again, and not just being like, I need to just like sit under a tree for 3 hours and just sort of like let the world wash over me as a vegan. This pseudo spirituality crap, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's fasting, isn't it? And that's been
Yes.
in spiritual practice forever. And so, you know, you get that initial whatever, and it has its uses, but eventually you've got to stabilize that. You've got to come down sometime, and you've got to start using something. I mean, I believe that I've lost decades in my life goals and stuff because of being vegetarian for that long.
I agree with you. I totally
and I
understand.
you know, when I think of I'm a drummer. I play drums pretty well, but when I think how much I would have, how much better I would be now if I'd spent the years that I spent spacing around and sitting in lotus position and being all holy, you know, if I'd spent that really, really practicing the drums, I'd be a monster now, you know.
Yeah.
and other things, you know, it's taken until this kind of time before any kind of income comes in. You know, I've always scraped by and had this scam and that scam, but I've never been focused on anything. And I can see that happening to people too. You know, somebody in the chat here says, I hate when people say all, like all vegans think this. If that was me, I want to qualify that and say, of course they don't. You know, I mean, I know some real cool ones. I'm just talking about the real militant ones that you run into, you know, but a lot of them, they do seem quite reasonable to start with, and then they kind of flip, you know, sometime into a conversation. But of course there are some sweet
The
ones
veganism
out
shows.
There, you
know? The veganism eventually shows once they
Yeah.
They can't help it.
It's a shame.
So wait, what age did you go vegan, or what age did you go vegetarian and then lead into veganism, I guess?
Oh, probably about 18. I went,
oh my
like,
God,
macrobiotic. Really? And that was, you know, I'm an old dude. That was 1980.
Oh my
so
God.
I at the time I was traveling around in a wagon. You know, I used to just live in teepees and buses and travel around with the free festivals in the convoy, and it was an amazing time. It was anarchy. It was fantastic, you know. But I think the damage I did with monstrous amounts of hallucinogenics and never sort of stabilizing each trip, plus eating macrobiotic food, was really, you know, it set the path for autoimmunity many sort of decades later. But, you know, I was veggie, that kind of veggie, and occasionally I'd sort of bung in eggs and chicken and stuff, which I believe is just a slower poison. You know, when you're eating like that really high plant-based, the same thing. It's, you know, it's like they criticized Leah Keith because she had an egg and a tin of tuna or something, you know. And of course she was vegan. She was, you know, so she had that every couple of months. So what? It doesn't make much difference. So then I ended up, I had periods of being an omnivore, but it was still sort of based around cereal and toast and pizza and stuff. And And for times I got into this Ayurvedic thing, you know, when I really believed Ayurveda was a vegetarian science, but actually it's not. You know, if you look in the old texts, they say meat is the most nourishing thing for the body, and everybody says, "Oh, I'm on an Ayurvedic diet," which is like rice and lentils. And
Yeah,
you know, in the north of England, this is a circadian mismatch, and it blows your ass up. You know, it's every single time. So, you know, I was on that, and then from like 2000 until about 2010, when I got really sick, I was just eating everything. You know, full omnivore, but mostly lacto-ovo vegetarian, mostly with a bit of chicken. I never brought any meat home and cooked it. I might have a chicken curry in a restaurant, but it was the only time I had little periods of veganism, but the only time I really went for it was when I got really, really sick. And then I thought, oh, I've written this diet book in about 96, and I was really brainwashed, you know, and written all about veganism and vegetarianism and how it was ideal, even though I wasn't really getting there. But in 2010, when I got really sick with psoriatic arthritis and I just couldn't move, then obviously my first thought is I've got to go even more vegetarian. So I've got to go vegan, then raw vegan, then just juicing, then fruitarian. And, you know, Jesus, the stuff that I got from that. And then finally, obviously, when I went keto and the body's dumping all the oxalates and I had a horrific kidney stone. And you know, it was a massive learning curve. There just wasn't the information, even in 2010, 2011. You know, I ran into Natasha Campbell McBride with her GAPS diet, and then I found Jack Cruz, and he's become a friend, and he's got some amazing theories, you know. But until then, you were sort of wading about. There wasn't all this info. You can find it a lot quicker these days, but back then it was, you know, I was wading through the internet, and it took me a couple of years before I figured out what was going on with a monster amount of research. It was very, very difficult. Yeah.
and especially because there's people putting out the opposite with seemingly good research. Like, people who never went vegan don't understand, like, because a lot of the friends of the channel, like Chris Kruger or, you know, these guys that come on and talk with me, and I'm like, you know, both sides have good science, and they say, no, they don't. I say, well, to the lay person who's at a crossroads in their life, they're like, I'm sick. I need to figure out what to do right now. Do I go all meat, which I've heard my entire life, to limit red meat for heart disease and all this other stuff? Or do I go vegan, which might be hard to do and it might be socially awkward, but it seems like on the surface that makes the most sense, because it's like nobody is saying that fruit and vegetables are unhealthy for you. And then you have the vegan doctors and the vegan YouTubers and the influencers all saying how amazing they feel, their life is better, they went vegan. And it becomes this big, like, idea with momentum in your head, and then you go and you try it, and if you're coming from a really shitty diet, you are going to feel better. So now you got this positive association with the whole thing, and then 4 years later you're like, why are my teeth falling apart? Why can't I build muscle anymore? My libido is shot. Everybody I know looks sick and gangly, like the little sick stick figure vegans, like they all are. They all disappear like that eventually. And everybody's going to be like, but John Venus, though, but Brian Turner, though. These guys eat mountains of Vivo Life protein powder that have digestive enzymes built into the protein complex. And, by the way, I want to say another goddamn Drew Morgan breakthrough here, by the way, everybody in the audience. I walked through Sprouts, which is a health food store, 2 days ago, and I looked at every single protein that's on the shelf. They all have digestive enzyme complexes in them now. They say it right on the label. Digestive enzyme complex. They have caught on to the fact that vegans need these digestive enzyme complexes inside the protein powder in order to even digest the shit in the first place. So, again, I was talking about this 2 months ago, and now all the brands have changed it up, and they're all doing it now.
Wow.
And so, that's going to help. That's going to help. That's going to help people digest the food, because you can't naturally digest it. And then they'll say, "Oh, but amylase," and God damn it, dude, it's just insane.
Yeah, but
just
you know, it seems such an unbelievably long way round, doesn't it? It's the times that I've seen it, and people do think that you sound insane. It obviously is insane because of all this 5 a day thing, even in the mainstream. And you know, I think it's great. You know, I know people like Paul Saladino coming out about it, and Sally Norton and my friend Elliot Overton about the oxalates and stuff, and it's just clearly obvious what happened to me back then with the
what
oxalate
did happen
dumping
to you?
and those you know,
what
those
kind of symptoms did you have?
Hey,
What kind of symptoms did you have with the oxalate dumping? Like, what exactly happened to you? How bad was it?
Well, a
what
lot of skin issues, but the worst thing was the kidney stones. And one of them was really big, and it got wedged in the ureter, and it was, stuck in between the kidney and the bladder for like 3 months. And somehow, I mean, it was only really agony for 1 day, and somehow then it calmed down. The body kind of adapted, but I knew it was there. And they had to actually put this device up my knob and laser it out of the ureter, and out it came in chunks,
Imagine the science. Like, you needed modern technology to handle that problem. Imagine if this was like 30 years ago, what the hell you would have had to do.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they'd have had to have gone in and cut it out, or, the thing is, it was so agonizing. And I was thinking, it almost put me off, because I thought, oh, it's got to be the protein. It's got to be all this protein I'm eating in the keto diet, because it was just into the keto diet. And this quite often happens, on the group, I see it all the time. Like, everybody's great on carnivore, and then sort of 3 months in, weird things start happening, and then they clear up again. But this sort of oxalate dumping can happen around that kind of time.
Interesting.
And that's what it was with me. I mean, I don't know how many, I had so many symptoms. I mean, so many weird symptoms. I thought I had Lyme disease. So I can't say which was oxalates and which wasn't. As I looked them up individually, it's kind of, it almost all of them could have been, but the kidney stones one definitely was. And it was really weird, because, the surgeon said to me, stop eating protein. You're going to have to stop eating protein. You're like, well, yeah, oh God, yeah, but my joint pain's gone away, so I'm just going to carry on. I'll just have the odd kidney stone lasered out. At least I can walk. I didn't realize that I was on the right path anyway to sort it out. And it was from my juicing of spinach, pretty much. I mean, I was putting in a whole pack a day into these revolting smoothies that I was taking. And, my thing is just so easy. All this science stuff, I listen to it, and I listen to maybe 3 podcasts a day with all these science dudes. And my brain doesn't really work like that. I don't really retain it, but it what it does is it bolsters up my own experience. It kind of makes you realize that that what you're doing, yes, it does have some basis, instead of just following Dr. Greger and whatever. I mean, I don't think he's ever had to heal a real serious disease. I expect the day will come, but for me, it's just intuition. It's real simple. It's, how does your body feel? What is it? What is it telling you? Eat when you're hungry, drink when you're thirsty, and that's it, man.
I know we've been disconnected. We're being told to get further disconnected from that. The vegans, like, people make the joke about vegans talking about detoxing their teeth, but that is a real that's a real notion in the community. Have you heard of this? You haven't. It sounds like the first time you're hearing this.
No.
It's in the raw vegan community, especially. There's a notion that if your teeth are becoming, deteriorated and need to fall out or whatever, then that needed to happen. Similar to how you're talking about the kidney stones, and that was sort of like a detox symptom of the oxalate dumping that needed to happen and pass. They have the same idea about teeth in certain cases. And they're like, yeah, I mean, if your teeth are rotting, like that, they're detoxing from the inside out. Like that root or whatever was obviously inflamed and your body was trying to get rid of that for whatever reason.
That's really bizarre. That's almost like when they say that it's horrific to have periods, and it's great when they stop and you're becoming more pure and all that. Exactly. Guys get no libido, and that's much more holy because it's base animal instincts and all that shit. Yes. Oh man, it's very, very bizarre.
But you don't feel good. Like you okay, cool. So now you're not horny or whatever, which is hilarious. But let's say you're not horny and you're like, okay, like this desire is gone, and now I can use that mental energy to focus on other things. But all the while, you're not feeling like you're not feeling robust. You're not feeling how you used to feel, like that primal nature that a man should have, just naturally speaking. That is part of your human code. You know what I mean? Like, you can't get away from that. And a diet that's artificially weakening you in that regard is probably weakening you in other ways as well. And if you pay attention, you can tell. And like you said, you felt better. You had less joint pain. But then you're going to go to vegan, they're going to be like, oh, none of that matters. Like, don't you see the science? Like, don't you watch Vegan Gains? He told you that, more spinach is better. The oxalates are not an issue. Your body should be able to deal with those. It's made to do that.
That's a weird
Even
one,
in the
I mean, yeah, maybe some people can deal with them, but I don't think you need them. And so why bother if they're hurting you? But it's identifying whether they are hurting you. And the whole libido thing. I mean, there was a thread on my carnivore group yesterday or today, somebody asking about libido. And, I see it again and again, the most amazing stories about that. One guy said that he had complete erectile dysfunction. And now he's absolutely fine and walking around with boners. And he's exactly my age, which is 57. And for me, I never had that, but it was slowing down a bit in my 40s. And now it's like better than 18 again. And it's so obvious. And the women are going on about it as well. Suddenly they're going absolutely nuts and they're all looking for partners and whatever. And this lady just met her partner on my group, and she's moving down with him, and she's going, at last, I don't have to walk around just ridiculously horny all day. It was getting uncomfortable. But this comes from the spiritual thing and the whole, the Seventh-day Adventist, all that nonsense, and Kellogg's, anti-masturbation cornflakes and all that crap. Because if you have, if you get into the whole spiritual side and see that, they're saying that what they miss is that everything is God, if you like. I mean, I'm not saying God in religious terms, but everything is what everybody's looking for. The lower chakras, if you like, the base instincts, everything is fine. That's what we've got. And everybody just tries to deny it and go up to all this, oh, I need to raise my energy to this higher chakra or whatever. No, go fuck somebody if you want to. It's fine. That's why you've got the desire, Right. And if you don't have the desire, don't do it. Do something else. We're given desires as opposed to addictions. You can always say, oh yeah, when I eat ice cream and chocolate all day, and that's fine, but that's an addiction. But these actual human desires, there's nothing wrong with them, man. There's nothing wrong with, suppress this, suppress the ego, suppress desires, suppress this. Oh, it's ridiculous. And it always bursts out and goes wrong. My local community here is a local community of transcendental meditation. I moved up here in like 86 to be a yogi for the rest of my life and all that. And I don't have much to do with them anymore, but I've said it many times on different shows and whatever, but there's so many of them dying of cancer. 2 of my friends on one day last year died of cancer, and the rate of cancer among this community, which probably is no more than maybe 250, 300 people, and much more cancer rates than the local McDonald's eaters. And I believe it's not just the ridiculous Southern Indian diet that they're trying to eat in the north of England. It's also this repression of emotions, repression of emotions and desires. And, oh, I can't look at this. I can't see this film, or I can't be out later than 9 o'clock at night, or, oh, I've missed my meditation. I'm panicking. The whole fucking life's a meditation. Wake up.
I want to mention a couple things about that too, because we know somebody that died of cancer as a raw vegan, and otherwise healthy, young age, mid-30s, early to mid-30s, totally otherwise healthy female, basically got a cancerous tumor in her back, broke her goddamn spine, and I believe it broke it officially, and she was essentially bedridden for like the final months. And I mean, I hate to like just talk about this because it's, I'm sure if anybody in her family was listening, it would be like, hey, this guy doesn't even know her. Why is he talking about her? But I do have very good secondhand information because my roommate was very good friends with her and was flying in and doing hospice with her and things like that. So like, I don't know of anybody my age that, is dying of cancer, but yet you have this raw vegan woman that dies of cancer. What's the deal with that? And who knows about the other things that I know she was quite strict with like relationships and things like that. So I wonder like how far that carried on in her life. Like you said, they're, really holding themselves back, repressing certain things, and how much that eats into the body's ability to just stress in general,
Oh, it does. The emotional side of things is huge. I fixed certain joints way before I even changed diet, just by working on emotional issues. And somebody here in the chat says instincts will tell you to eat fruits too. They're high in oxalates, I heard. Sure, they will, but we didn't have bananas available in the supermarket year round, and we couldn't just go and binge on them every single day, even through the winter. And so you're going to get in trouble there. And that's the least of your worries. When you're eating sort of Mars bars and Twinkies and pizza and stuff like that, then you're in real then you're in real trouble. But you don't need the fruit. You can eat it if you want when it's in season. If you're healthy, why not? I'm not militant, but instincts will tell you to eat fruits, of course, because we're all sugar addicts, and the plant produces it in season, and you have the sun when you're in season, to deplete that deuterium and whatever. And it's all the disconnects again. But yeah,
well,
sure.
I've asked people, I said, hey, so where in nature can you name in the world where you will be able to go and eat a calorically abundant amount of fruit that's growing wild? Where would that exist? And they're like, there's name one national park in the United States that has an abundance of edible fruit to where you can even make one meal out of it. And you're telling me you're going to live year round on wild fruit because that's how the Fruitopia used to be 100,000 years ago, before we started doing all this agriculture and poisoning people's minds with meat. Back when we were still evolving, we were all eating just natural fruit off the trees, and we were just walking around, mangoes here, oranges here, bananas there. Do people have any idea how hard it is to cultivate fruit? Like, my friends own farms in Hawaii. It is a pain in the ass. First of all, you need real farm equipment to even keep the weeds down. You need chemicals to keep the weeds down to even access the fruit in the first place. Then you need machetes, you need ladders, you need ways to hang the fruit up to keep bugs off of it. Otherwise, the bugs will just completely destroy it. People in the mainland are so spoiled. When we get bananas in Hawaii, we'd buy them by the bunches or whatever, $1 a pound, very cheap, locally grown, organic. And you had about a 1 day to 2 day window. Otherwise, they would be full of maggots. People in the mainland have never seen a banana with maggots in it because they're all sprayed, even the organic ones. You go to Whole Foods and you buy bananas, you'll never see a maggot in your banana. But go to Hawaii and you wait 1 extra day and you have to watch every bite. You have to peel the banana open and you have to see if there's maggots in there because the fruit flies will just be on that shit. It doesn't matter if they're indoors either. The fruit flies will find their way inside. They will find their way straight to your stash. Unless you have it physically netted, then your bananas will have maggots in them 100%. So
yeah, and have you seen a wild banana? They're like tiny and all full of seeds. No one wants to eat that. These are all bred. These ones that we have. But
correct.
There was a real funny story. I hope it's not an urban myth. Somebody told me, who I Skyped with one time, and he lives in Ecuador. And I think it was Ecuador, but it might not have been. But anyway, some vegan dude went out to this country and he decided he was going to set up his own paradise and grow his own fruit and heal all his ailments, and everything was going to be wonderful. So he started off and he started growing it, and all the monkeys started eating his fruit and they were nicking it constantly. And he had nothing left to eat. And he ended up in desperation shooting the monkeys and eating them.
There you go.
And his health got enormously better.
Well, in Hawaii, same thing. Our friends, and they might be in this chat, Off Grid Hawaii, they have a channel. He said, they have a couple acres which they grow fruit and everything on. And the freaking pigs came in and dug up all their tubers in one night. Gone. Yeah. Guess what? You're gonna start using the tubers as bait and shooting the pigs and eating those things because they got a lot more calories and a lot easier to harvest and consume. It is so easy to kill animals and eat them compared to growing fruit. It is such a misconception from the vegans who, especially, I always crack up because these guys live in cities and stuff like that. And they've never even picked wild fruit in their entire life. And then they think that out in the jungle, all this fruit is just growing ready for them. And there's no other predators or there's no competition for it. It's like, it's so fake, man. They just don't get it. They're not living in the actual reality. That is the thing about vegans, that they're disconnected from the results and the reality of the situation. They've created this thing in their mind. They've seen a couple bits of science, and then they're not asking any more questions. They're like, yes, this makes sense. I walked by the vegetarian restaurant last night in San Diego. There's a strip with all these bars and restaurants, and Elise goes, "Oh yeah, this is a vegetarian restaurant." And I was like, "Really?" I look at the people on the patio. Literally, the two fattest people I saw all night are sitting there on the patio eating the vegetarian food. They're probably not, they're probably not vegetarian. They're probably not vegan, but like, damn, like this is the crowd that it's drawing in. Just overweight people. You didn't look in there and see this like amazing abundance of health. There wasn't like these super healthy people just like ripped and strong, like you see on the carnivore boards. All these people losing weight, looking muscular, feeling good. Doesn't happen in the vegan community. People aren't doing that. They say they're healing.
Did you start screaming and shouting and throw a bucket of chlorophyll over them? Demonstration.
Activism. Meat activism. So I have a little joke that I say I want to do a meat mukbang where we do mock vegetables. Do you have any ideas on that? Because I know that we can create some carrots, and I've also seen
somebody did that, didn't they?
Well, Arby's, a restaurant here, just did a mock carrot as a joke in their ad, which I find very cool in 2019 that people are still doing these like very anti-vegan sarcastic ads. That's very cool of them. They probably got sued by like PETA, but it was worth it. So what?
Yeah, that was odd.
Yeah, what do you think is like the current state of everything? Because I thought about sort of like doing an interview style with you where, I could look up your material and really get detailed, but I'd rather just have like a current conversation with you because like what is currently going on? What do you currently see the state of affairs at? Like what is your overall take on the vegans right now? Do you think that they have any valid points, or is carnivore just completely taking over the world and dominating it with results and science and all this stuff? Like what's going on?
Well, I think, we're stuck in this world of veganism and carnivore, but actually it's still a tiny minority, isn't it? When you look at it, I mean, most of the people I meet, and I move in sort of musical circles and all other circles, and I'm not stuck in this carnivore world. And so most people are just like, you're both mad. What's going on? Vegans, I can't fucking stand them. They go, I mean, what a whinging little wankers, and you hear this and, I saw something in this country. They hold laptops with videos of, animal abuse and they've got like masks on and whatever. And they're going, people are just going, they're so annoying. I just want to punch them, and they think, this is sort of, they're being singled out and discriminated against. And this is part of their sort of martyrdom. But no, it's because they're annoying wankers and they've got it completely the wrong way around. And then there's the carnivores. And so because they've seen the vegans, it sort of almost gives the carnivores a bad name because they assume that they're two ends of an extreme. And I don't really see it like that. I just see that it's done with the same kind of desire to eat natural food that we believe we're adapted to. But the vegans have listened to the wrong kind of shit. And so the carnivores,
well, there's also there's also that ethical tie-in on the vegan side that makes it even more.
I mean, as soon as I just tell them to just Google deer caught in combine header, and there's loads of pictures of it out there. At least they might, think about that because they don't seem to worry about rats and snakes and things like that get mashed up. But if somebody had said that to me when I was vegan, I'd have gone, God, that makes sense. I don't really understand why they go, no, well, it wasn't deliberate. Or one guy at this funny meeting I did in Liverpool, and he was saying, oh, well, the vibration scares them all away. They all run away. They don't get hurt. I'm like, man, come on. Even if the vibration did scare them all away, and it probably does scare some away. I've heard tales of mice running in droves into farmyards and having nothing to eat and ending up being cannibals, and eating each other because they've lost their habitat. So, how is this compassion? So I don't know. I mean, all I see, I've given up worrying really about that. I get so many people who come to me. I do these Skype consults and things and see these beautiful healing stories. And it's so very simple to get the message across to them. And it's just the brainwashing, If some McDonald's eater comes to me, it's great. It's like, hey, eat steak all day and you're going to feel amazing. Really? Excellent. I'll do that. Yeah. You get some vegan, then you got 3 months of arguing with them before you can even start, right. And maybe you have to lead them through all the emotional stuff and actually doing some, EFT or some kind of actual emotional release thing to get rid of all this false beliefs that they've got. And I see that as real dangerous. And I see that, a lot of people say to me, why do you come down on vegans? And, I don't come down as savagely as most people do, but say on my private Facebook page, I'll often get people, why do you bother? Live and let live, let everybody eat what they eat. I say, yeah, sure. The only thing I worry about is on the big picture of how, it's coming in everywhere in this 5 a day thing. And when you realize that the 5 a day thing was just sort of, oh, what should we do? What we'll make up some number, on a cigarette packet in the back of a taxi or something on the way back from some meeting they had. And it was very informal, and the expression just kind of stuck, and it's not based on anything. And so this is really hurting people. And when I see some people, like there's some of my friends at the moment who shall all remain nameless, but I love you all. But, you know, and I see them really suffering, and they don't really even know that they're suffering because they never experienced really good mental clarity, really good health. And I'm not even sure I have, because it's taken so much to repair the damage. I sort of feel benefits all the time, but I don't know where it's going to end up, really.
You're still on the upswing.
Hey?
You're still on the upswing, you know, you're still rising the ladder, which is great.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, I mean, even giving up butter, which I thought was fine because my partner has got diagnosed with Graves' disease. So we went on the real animal only, no dairy PKD diet, you know, from Paleo Medicina. I was talking to Jofia on Skype, and she was saying, look, absolutely no dairy. So I said, I'll give it up with you. And I gave it up.
Even raw, by the way?
Hey?
Does that apply to raw dairy as well, by the way?
Yeah, everything, you know,
okay.
for Graves' disease anyway. You know, I think raw dairy and dairy is great if you can take it, no problem at all. High fat dairy, beautiful. I mean, yeah, it's a bit hyper palatable and I tend to overeat it. But, you know, when I did that and replaced it with tallow, suddenly I got ridiculously skinny about 3 months ago. And I realized, God, you know, I'm really am that skinny underneath the last layer of fat that was on there. There wasn't much. I saw you got your belly out earlier on, and that's probably about what I've got at the moment. I put a little bit back on in the last month, but it was such a revelation, you know, and you keep on finding these little things that, and the more you go towards meat and just the meat fats, you know, rather than the dairy fats and some organ meats or whatever to, you know, to hedge your bets just a little bit here and there. And it's just amazing. And you can't expect people to ever really believe you that that's the way out. But the closer you get to that kind of diet, now I don't know for everybody. I don't know. You know, some people might feel better if you're biologically metabolically fine and you haven't got some horrific disease, then maybe there are all sorts of benefits we don't know about eating berries off the bush in the winter. I mean, in the autumn when they ripen. But you don't really need them. And for somebody who's pushed themselves away into autoimmunity like I did, when you get onto that seriously, meat, beef and water, you know, ruminant animals and water, even get rid of pork and chicken, it's fantastic. It's unbelievable how you feel. And it's the least inflammatory thing. And you can see in the blood work that the CRP comes down and everything. And everybody, and the vegans still argue that meat is inflammatory. Well, okay, you know,
I want to talk about
eaters.
That. So I love your riff right now, but I do want to point that out, is that there's an argument over which blood parameters even matter.
Hey, exactly.
Between the carnivores are looking at the triglycerides and the HDL ratio, and the vegans are looking at the low LDL, and that's all that matters to them. And you know, everybody's saying to hell with the RDAs. The recommended dietary ranges. The recommended blood work ranges. They're saying those aren't even accurate. So like, there's a huge argument over even what matters on the blood panel to begin with. So
absolutely, yeah.
Keep going.
I mean, you know, it's funny when the vegans say something like Sean Baker, they say Sean is diabetic or something. I mean, come on. He's absolutely fine, and he's huge, and he's over 50, and he's breaking these records, and he feels really great. Okay, so they say then he's on steroids and all that sort of nonsense. You know, it's ridiculous. But you've just got to look at somebody like that and you say, hey, you know, there are no confounding factors. This is what I love about carnivore, is that there's just no confounding factors. Nobody's putting it, well, obviously people are, but if you're not putting in a little bit of broccoli, you know, I haven't had a vegetable for 4 years now, and nothing at all. My plant intake is a little bit of red wine, bit of brandy, and the occasional spliff, you know. But I don't eat any plants.
Phil gets his greens in here, guys. You heard it here.
Yeah, I get my greens in, you know. Yeah. Actually, I get my browns in. It's usually the oil. But,
okay, good.
But it's, you know, it's, and I'd probably be better off without that too, you know, and that'll be another biohack, get rid of the last of that. But
man, everybody's got to have a vice. This is like, you don't want to be those transcendental people.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's whatever. You go by how you feel. And if something is something's wrong. Well, look at what you're doing and drop it out, whether it's the blue light at night, or not getting enough exercise, or it's just being educated about it. So if people are presented with the facts that there are all these toxins in plants, they might think, okay, they might well be doing this symptom and that symptom. It's just getting the correct education out there, and it's coming up, but there is a lot of silencing going on, because Tristan's just brilliant at that, isn't he, with his bringing it down to all the money and how it's all started and all this Agenda 21, and his Human Performance Outliers podcast, I think, was an absolute masterpiece. He nailed it in about an hour, and you could see Sean and Zach were just like, what the fuck? It wasn't their usual interview,
right?
But and whether all of what he says is true or not, who knows? But it just to bring people that kind of education so that they can make their own choices. What really upsets me, I mean, if somebody eats pizza all day and they get fat and diabetic and have a leg cut off, it's their own business. They know that that's not great by any standards, so it's their choice. But if people get really sick and then they go down these routes of okay, well, we're going to do the 5 a day and we're going to lower the fat and we're going to do, and then they get sicker and then they die, and they end up on chemo or something. That's what upsets me. If you want to fuck up and you want to mess up your own body, that's great. Do all the drugs and eat all the pizza you like, but just know what you're doing. That's all.
Yes.
If you want to make that informed choice, but we don't really have an informed choice, do we?
Well, I think that's kind of the dangerous thing about veganism, specifically in this, just as an example, is you do typically get a false positive reading in the beginning. Like I said, most people are coming from a really shitty diet. Let's say you're 21, you're overweight, you've never had a good diet in your life, and you're like, I'm going to take control and I'm doing this vegan thing. You go on a 100% plant-based diet. You finally start understanding a little bit about caloric intake. Let's say you lose some weight, you do feel better, your blood markers do get better, they do improve. And then you're like, okay, veganism did this for me. And really that's not true. And then, 2, 3, 4 years go by, you're not really feeling as good as you did that first 6 months or 9 months or whatever, where you had all this energy. And then your blood's starting to get worse. Things are starting to happen. You're like, well, now I've got this ethical thing that's just like, it's got the knot cinched, like I can't get out of this. And you see that with people. And one of my viewers, Tofu Tommy, you may have heard of him. He's a British man. He's been instructed by his state-run nutritionist, like, you are going down the path of death unless you start incorporating animal foods 100%. And he knows that he has to eat animal foods to heal himself, and he's basically struggling emotionally and spiritually to even consume the animal foods. I mean, this guy's got pictures with Earthling Ed. He's got pictures with Joey Carbstrong. He is one of the foundational characters in regards to activism in the UK. And now he's got to go back on all of the stuff that he's brainwashed himself, basically, from the ethical side especially. And he's got to eat the humbleness, the humble pie, and go back to eating animal foods to save his own freaking life. And you can take one look at him and you're like, you are unhealthy, but he can't see that in the mirror. He wasn't in tune with his body, and because of the ethics, it was lubricating the poor decision making of continuing down the vegan path. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's very dangerous.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that never really happened to me because there was never this social media around when I was sort of
what a blessing,
vegan and vegetarian all those years. But I was stuck in this little echo chamber of Skelmersdale, UK here, which is the center of the whole TM thing, and everybody just assumed that was the healthiest thing to do. But I really admire the people who go back on it, because I know how difficult it is, but also how rewarding it is to be wrong. I'm still looking to be wrong. I'm looking for things that are wrong with the carnivore thing. I'm not just jumping on this and going, oh, this is absolutely brilliant. There might be something way better. I don't know, but I haven't found it yet. But it's happening here where, they're so caught up in it. And these guys, I'm 57, but I'm actually one of the youngest ones. They're sort of more like mid 60s to 70 now, but they're very, very ill. And you can see it in them, and they're still really stuck in it. And you talk to them, and they're shocked. They say, "You're looking really well. How did you do that? You were really ill a while ago. You were really fat, and then you were really, really emaciated, and you seem to be sort of sorted stuff out." And I'll see them in the supermarket, and then I just kind of point to what's in me. You know, I've got a load of legs of lamb and beef and whatever, and they've got a load of quinoa and brown rice and tofu. And I say, well, you know, here's the difference. Oh, I could never eat that. You know, I could never do that. They go, well, there you go. You know, and it's very difficult to knock people out of this kind of thing, man. It's heartbreaking, really. But it was one of the things I really had to let go of, because people have their own path, and like I called my book, you know, Arthritis, the best thing that ever happened to me. And it's when you get sick, it's often that time when you have those beautiful aha moments and things turn around, you know. But we're trying to do. I've teamed up with Jeremy Ayers, who I don't know if you've seen on the group, but he's he's quite extraordinary. He's just incredibly knowledgeable. For decades, he's been using these amazing protocols to fix all kinds of disease and whatever. And he's lived all over the world and done this. And he's then he said that he turned up on the group because he said that the only difficult thing was diet. And finally, he's found carnivore, and he said it's just revolutionized everything. Everything else works so much better with it. And so he's become a real good friend. He's moved here pretty close to me, and we're working together with this guy called Graham Norbury, who has not been out on social media much, but I think there's only one on a Harvard's channel, and it's the Three Amitos, we called ourselves, I think, for that one. But Graham is incredible with, you know, the Jack Cruz stuff. He just brings it out beautifully. The whole business about deuterium and light. And between the three of us, I think we have developed a way to try and explain to people how to cover everything, you know, and how to look at it without it being overly scientific, but with the science base. But also from his healing perspective, Jeremy's, from decades of experience of fixing the most incredible ailments for people, and my experience of coming through one, and then Graham's expertise with all the light and mitochondrial function and deuterium and all. It's amazing stuff. And to put together some kind of program. We're off to the Lake District tomorrow, actually, to just sit down and do our first recordings for this, for the Human Unleashed, we've called it. And bring out, you know, these webinars and courses and stuff like that, because just to offer to people something that will break through all of this dogma, you know, and show people in one package how completely illogical everything is that they've been taught. And so I used to get real upset when I had to deal with individual people and friends getting really sick and all of that. But you've just got to kind of accept the path, and then just put something out there that's positive, that people can come along and find. You know, I think this is the problem with Frank at the moment. He's getting really upset with this and that. You know, just put your own message out, Frank. It's cool. You know, it's a damn good message, actually, until all this craziness comes up. And, you know, I've learned a shitload from that guy. He understands a load more about human physiology than I do. And I've learned a shitload from Paul Saladino too. I don't see where the war is. I don't understand. So, you know, just put out some positive stuff and just let it settle in. I think it could go either way. You know, there could be this great big vegan upsurge as everybody gets fooled, or maybe that's going to happen just in the short term, like a kind of wave breaking. But to me, it looks like, you know, there's this house of veganism, and yet it's not built on anything. And there's this sort of carnivore basement, and we're sort of undermining everything and bringing the house down. And I hope it goes that way. You know, it's cool. But the trouble is we got to undo so many farming practices to make it work. We got to do all of this kind of thing. So for me now, it's just, okay, who wants the message of the best we can possibly do at the moment? And among us, what I like among the three of us is that we're always really excited to be wrong. You know, all of us, you say, well, you know, we'll do this shitload of research for everybody, put it into actionable stuff, and then just say, hey, you know, and when we get it wrong, we're going to come straight on there and say, what we said there was crap, you know? Mm-hmm. It's Slightly Vegan says, what did Phil do wrong on the vegan diet? I went vegan.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
There's no way to do it right. It's just a matter of doing it less wrong, basically, than other people. Mm-hmm. Obviously, eating less, you're going to hit the wall sooner. going full fruit based, you're going to hit the wall sooner.
Oh.
What do you think about these guys like the fruitarians that are 5, 6, 7, 8 years deep and are still doing it and are still promoting it and are saying it's still the best thing for human health and that humans are frugivores? Like what do you make of that? I mean, if they are in relative good health, how is their body even handling that? And do you think it'll handle it forever?
It's interesting. I mean, Slightly Vegan here says, was Phil eating Pop-Tarts? At some points I was, but at other points I was, I wrote books on it. I was really, I knew how to put together a plant-based diet. I really did. A whole food plant-based diet. I wrote about it. But to be honest, I felt worse when I ate that than when I ate the Pop-Tarts. Not that I've ever actually eaten the Pop-Tarts, but similar shite.
But I wanted to point out too, when I eat carbs now, if it's without the fiber, I can handle it a lot better than with the fiber. So yeah, fruit and greens with the fiber is pretty harsh on the digestion, even to this day. So,
oh God, when I was really sick, I could have a binge on a whole bar of chocolate, nothing would happen. Mm-hmm. I'd eat some broccoli and a banana, and then I'd be in trouble. It's definitely to do with the fiber. When you understand it and how it goes down, activates Klebsiella, which is a bacteria that's very prevalent in joint pain and ankylosing spondylitis and stuff like that.
And that's
you said about the fruit people. I you know what I think? Some people they have just better redox potential. They can clear their mitochondria out better. They have, some people will put up with it for longer. I think I did it only for about 2-3 months before my teeth started to get real sore. Now, I've got real lucky all through my vegetarian years. I've only got one tiny filling, which I got taken out and had a white one put in. And I've got all my teeth at 57 and I got lucky. But they, 2 months of raw fruit all day long, and they really started to hurt. They was just sensitive and I couldn't even breathe in through my mouth because it would be just so painful with the sensitive teeth. But, I think these guys who actually get away with it, but do they get away with it? Some of them who say they're getting away with it, they don't look that great. And, there are teeth problems. And I've had a lot of vegetarians even. They stand in front of me and go, I'm fine. I'm really healthy after all these years.
Let me see your teeth, horse.
Yeah. And they've got, blackened stumps on the teeth and all this stuff going on. And it's pretty obvious and the kind of gray skin thing going on. So I think also a lot of these guys who do get away with it for longer, they live in a very sunny clime. And there is what a lot of people don't understand about this whole, deuterium depletion thing. The fruits are very high in deuterium. They grow when it's sunny. They grow in the sunny climes. And the more you live there, the less harm they're going to do to you. And the longer you're going to be able to get away with it. So if you've got really good genetics and you're emotionally balanced, which you probably won't be forever on that kind of a diet, but if basically you are, and you've got everything else together, you're pretty happy and chilled, and you're in the sun a lot, you're going to get away with it a hell of a lot longer than you will when I was fruitarian for a bit. I was in the north of England. It was the winter. I was emaciated from a load of juice fasting, and I had an autoimmune disease and several other issues. So it's not going to be long for me before it kicks in, and it did. That was the last thing. That was just like, fuck this. And I went on a fish fast and I had nothing but fish for a week. And suddenly all my brain faculties came back, everything, because I felt like I had Alzheimer's on fruitarian as well. I didn't even know what was going on. So, I think it's down to redox potential, the ability for the cell to turn over its toxins and regroup and all of that kind of thing. And I think it's to do with the sun and stuff. That's my guess for these fruitarians that manage it for longer.
Oh, what is funny is that when I was doing, raw till 4 style veganism, which is essentially fruit for breakfast, fruit for lunch, and then like a cooked food dinner, that wasn't by plan. It's not like dinner time. I was like, God, I wish I could have another meal of fruit. I was absolutely sick of the sweetness of fruit come dinner time. Yeah. You couldn't pay me to have a mango dinner after eating fruit all day. Like, I don't understand how people think that this sugar is this natural thing. Sugar is, when you have enough of sugar, it physically makes you nauseous. Like, if you have too much sugar, you'll feel sick. Your tongue will reject it out of your mouth. You're not even interested. You can't even take another goddamn sip of a banana smoothie if you hit that point of like sugar overload where you just don't want it anymore. You know,
absolutely. I remember the
the
first meal I had as a fruitarian. I had a whole load of bananas and a whole pineapple cut up, and I thought, God, this is delicious. I can't wait to eat this way. After the shitty spinach smoothies, it was heaven. But like 2 meals later, you're like, God, I want a pizza.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
It's crazy. Somebody in chat here says only fish. Doesn't he know you can get mercury overload from that? Well, actually, that's a bit of a misnomer. But apart from the fact that it was sardines, so they're small fish, they don't have much mercury in them. But you know, a week of eating fish after being fruitarian, even if there is a problem with mercury, I tell you what, it's such a better diet than a whole load of fruit. But you know, there is also the selenium in there, and there's other stuff that balances it out. And the mercury freak out from fish is a little bit exaggerated. So sorry, I just saw that one pop up. There we go.
No problem. That's another thing you brought up, the selenium. It's funny because selenium, the only thing that I know of in the entire the entire plant-based world to get selenium is the Brazil nut. And we used to call them Brazil pills in Hawaii because we'd have like a big stash of them, and it was like a community stash that we would keep. And everybody would be like, if one of us was in the kitchen, you know, one of the roommates, they'd be like, hey, you want your Brazil pill? And we'd like pull out 3 or 4 of these Brazil nuts. I don't know where Brazil nuts come from. I'm assuming they're a South American product. But isn't that funny that there's only this one nut in the world that can give you this necessary nutrient that we need? Like, where the hell would you have gotten that if you were in Northern Africa at the beginning of time of man? You wouldn't have got it from the goddamn Brazil nuts, guys. Those things are toxic anyways. They need to be cooked and processed to even get to the point where you can get a little bit of selenium out of it. That's assuming you can even digest that Brazil nut to begin with. It's just really funny.
It's crazy. I mean, to me, when I listen to people, you know, the real experts, if you like, one guy will be saying this, one guy will be saying that. They've both done the same study and the same knowledge, you know. But honestly, I don't see anybody really agreeing on everything. Nobody understands it's really fascinating going on about all these individual dangers and this and that. And the oxalate thing is very interesting, but you know,
I feel like that's still washed under the rug, by the way. It's the oxalates is still being ignored by the vegans right now.
Oh yeah,
the whole oxalate issue is still being like, well, we're not even there. Like, let's not even go there yet.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know, to me, all of these individual things are really interesting, but we don't understand human physiology. We really don't. We've completely scratched the surface, even the brightest people in the world. So to me, eat an animal whole, you know. It's, you know, what's so great about the small fish? Somebody's saying have a red meat fast. Yeah, definitely. And I eat way more red meat than I do fish now. But to me, it was like the whole omega-3 crossing the blood-brain barrier. I had a bit of Alzheimer's, it felt like, you know, from the fruitarianism. And so I just wanted to go for the fish for a week. That was all. It wasn't anything. I'm not saying fish is better than ruminant animals, but it did for me for that week. But, you know, I think just eat the whole thing. We're all saying, you know, it's like where all these people taking all these omega-3 oils and krill oil and stuff. I've done that, you know. But as soon as you go carnivore, people find that they're throwing supplements away. They're throwing all of these things away. Who knows what cofactors are there in fish? Oh, I need this much, you know, omega-3 every day. I need to take this pill and this one and then this one. Oh, the krill's better than that. No, they're probably all rancid inside that little thingy anyway. You know,
well, Bart Kay's done the research on that.
Eat the fish.
Just eat the fish. And you made a good point. If you're eating whole sardines, you're technically eating nose to tail. That's interesting.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
You're eating the whole fish.
This is why I don't like fish very much. It's all right, but I'd much rather have a steak than fish. So what I do is I just, you know, every time my body tells me that I might need it, and it's difficult to explain why, because it's not a hunger, because I don't particularly like them, but I eat oysters. So then you've got raw and you've got nose to tail all in one, you know, and so you just do a few oysters and then you move on to a nice steak or something, or some roast beef or whatever you're eating. And I do that with liver as well. You know, I'll just have a little bit to start, and then I don't have a whole day where I eat liver. You know, I don't like it that much. It's all right. You know,
I'm a little jealous. Have you seen Cole Robinson, the snake diet guy?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, god damn, this liver's fucking good. And he's like just mowing through this raw liver, like 2 pounds of it. How do you do that, bro? Insane.
I know. I've tried it. Tristan keeps trying to say, look, you've got to try this high liver. You know, you got to try the high liver. It's like camembert. He said it's like, and it is. If you think about it, we ferment stuff. We ferment vegetables. We ferment dairy, and it's fine. We eat it all the time. Somebody ferments liver, and they go, ugh. You know, but if it's properly fermented, then great. You know, I don't see any problem with it. I haven't tried it yet, but I keep meaning to. I just keep, every time we get liver, it just seems to get cooked. And I go, oh, I'll do the next one. I'll do the next one. I haven't done it yet, but I've got to try it. But yeah, I think this Cole guy, I got more respect for him when he went on Sean's podcast a little while ago. And you realize just how much the guy knows. You know, I mean, he's shouting, hey, fatty, and all this. I think that's great, but I hadn't really listened. But my God, the stuff that he's going on about, if anybody is listening who has some kind of autoimmunity, the ideas he's got of being, you know, eating only when you're really hungry, eating in really small windows, leaving it 3 days, fasting, stuff like that. Seriously, that is the way out of autoimmunity. He's nailed it, you know. And I was interested because he's in the sort of weight loss arena, isn't he? But Sean said to him at one point, have you seen any diseases reversed? Oh yeah, all of them. It was just like almost like a throwaway comment. And I thought, I'm not surprised at all. Yeah, I'm not surprised at all with what he's doing there. You know, dry fasting, this snake juice fasting to balance the electrolytes. Fantastic. You can do 3 days of that. I mean, there was a guy.
And he's really strong.
Sorry?
And he's really fucking strong.
Yeah.
He performs too.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. And putting on muscle, eating only every 2-3 days or something. It's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. I love these guys who blow up all these things that we thought we knew. You know, but I mean, I've seen it. There's a guy, I won't name him because I don't know how public he wants to go, but he turned up at our carnivore retreat in Spain in April, and he was a real quiet guy. And then suddenly he started to come out of his shell a bit and chat to us about this and that. And he started to show us these case histories. And he's had like 30,000 case histories of people that he's fixed with 3 days fasting and 1 day eating, and then 3 days fasting, 1 day eating. He's had people kind of choking up tumors and stuff and spitting them out. He's had, he does these amazing photos of the back of the retina, you know, and you can see all the blood vessels regrouping and everything coming back in, and the way that's one of the markers of health that he uses. But fascinating, the incredible results he's had. It's absolutely brilliant. Sorry, there's a wasp in here. It's been keeping clear of me, but now it's on my hand. Okay, bastard. It didn't sting me. Phew. So yeah, he's having incredible results, and it was really, really nice to see Cole going on about that. You know, real similar stuff. And honestly, he's got something there big. And a lot of people who just go into it for the weight loss won't realize how fantastic his stuff is. I've only really listened to it and noticed it in the past little while. You know, I knew who he was and whatever, but since that Human Performance Outliers thing, spot on, man. If you got autoimmunity, you do a lot worse than follow Cole. Seriously, get on that snake diet thing. It's going to really blow it out. Fantastic.
Yeah, he even talks about dry fasting, chewing up stretch marks and stretch out skin, like women have it from their stomach after birth.
Yeah, you know, he's saying all sorts of skin things are sorted out with dry fasting. Yeah, I've tried it. I haven't got into it too much, but that's again the trouble with carnivore. When I was vegan, I was fasting all the time. You know, I'd do 3 days here, I'd do 5 days there, and finally the symptoms would go down. But then as soon as you start eating, obviously they come back in again because you're eating that crap. Yeah. And I think, you know, I mean, people do monster fast, but my longest I think was about 11 days, and it was just heaven. But yeah, I was wasting away so much because I just couldn't eat. And then when I came back to eating, I was eating the stuff that had no nutrients anyway.
Yeah.
But if you combine that with refeeds, with sort of real nutritious stuff, my God, I mean, the things that you can do. Yeah. Oh,
yeah. I would love to get my grandma on that because she's struggling with a lot of different health things, and she just can't freaking lose weight. But she eats a little bit of food, but the food she does eat is always terrible. And I'm always trying to get her to be like, because her appetite's real low because she doesn't. Who's
this, Drew? You cut out a little bit at the beginning.
My grandma.
Oh, your grandma. Yeah.
So she's like 220 and 5'5" or something like that. So she needs to lose a lot of weight for her hips and her knees and stuff like that to be more mobile and feel a lot better. But like I want to just like study her and like, I don't know, do like a YouTube series on it or something, give her the spotlight and just say, hey, we're going to have you fast. You're going to eat 500 calories of sirloin steak a day at 4 p.m. every day. and that's just going to be your refeed. You know, that's like what, probably 80 grams of protein or something like that, and then that'll just keep you going. You know, and then, I mean, I'm sure within 2 months she would just lose everything, and she'd be a whole new person.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
that's what.
Well, I don't know if you saw I've got a little video up there. If you put my name in and breast cancer, you can see my mum was very game. She was very sporting and let me put pictures of this breast tumor disappearing. But we reversed the breast cancer, you know, on this.
Talk more about that.
A little bit of iodine and a carnivore diet. And she was 93 at the time. And we reversed the breast cancer. It just, you know, the tumor started reversing. It was quite amazing, really, to see it happen. And yeah, you know, you're never too old, man. Never too old.
And this was all you were getting x-rays of it at the doctor's, and you kept all that information and shared it?
You didn't need an x-ray. You didn't need an x-ray. You can see it in a photo. It was bursting through the skin. I mean, there was no hiding it. It was pretty severe, big lump in there, you know? And
it was cancerous?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Oh no, we had diagnosis. She had an oncologist and everything. Yeah. I'm not guessing. Okay. It was definitely breast cancer. But yeah, you know, again, iodine is big in these things. You know, they've been seen it in fibrocystic breast syndrome. You know, you take some iodine, you paint it on the breast. Those cysts go away. You know, the fibrous whatever, and it's been known forever. It's in female reproductive and hormonal health. You need enough iodine. You've got to have enough iodine. And so what we did was load her up with iodine and over 3 months. And then after about a month after that, quite often it's a delayed reaction. The tumor started disappearing. We had her on the cannabis oil and stuff, but you know, she was 93 and getting mashed every day, and she got kind of sick of it. And it was really funny to go around and see the ridiculous situations she'd get herself in, really stoned. So I thought, okay, we'll try another tack, you know.
She must have been pretty open-minded. That's hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, she wasn't really, but in her old age, she just kind of became a bit sort of, sod it. I'll do everything, you know, I'll do anything. It was not really her choice anymore. She sort of gave up to me, I think. She didn't do any of this. I just I used to cook for her and everything, because she wouldn't go out or cook or anything. So I used to do all that, so I had kind of control over it. She didn't have a problem with the diet, you know, not at all. It's a beautiful diet, isn't it? So
tasty meat.
It's hilarious. So it's hilarious. It's delicious, but it was hilarious to see her absolutely mashed. But so I found this iodine thing, and I'd pretty much given up at the time. I thought, nah, we've failed. It's not going to work. We're close to having it cut out. You know, at least just get rid of it. And then suddenly one day she said, "Oh, it's going away," and I thought, yeah, right. You know, let's have a look. And it honestly, the whole thing was pretty much regrouping. The pictures are there on YouTube. Just, you know, if you put my name in and breast cancer, and you'll see it pretty much. That was a talk that I did in front of docs.
Have you heard about like any headache issues, like recurring headaches? It seems to be something that people are dealing with. I know that Elise, my girlfriend, is dealing with that. She gets headaches quite often. It's just sort of like something that pops in for few hours a day randomly.
You mean on carnivore?
She's eating I mean, she's done stretches of, you know, I won't say 100% carnivore, but we're talking like high carnivore. And I mean, she gets her meat in, you know, she gets her eggs in, she does eat a lot of bacon. I don't know if that's good or bad, but she gets her bacon in. She eats a lot of beef. She eats a lot of wild caught salmon. It's all super high quality meat that she buys. It's almost always grass fed. She gets a lot of it in. So she doesn't do dairy. So I'm just curious if you've heard of anything like that, people curing headaches or what that might be. Because you mentioned the iodine.
It could be anything, couldn't it? It could be anything. And it could be an electrolyte thing. It could be too much blue light at night. It could be some stress. And it could be a combination of all of them. You know, I mean, it's so difficult to say without really chatting to somebody. You know, if I could chat to somebody and then, you know, after about half an hour of chatting, I find if I do a consult or something, then these things become kind of obvious when you go through their life history and the things that they've done. You can probably pinpoint certain things that are causing it, but God, it could be anything really. I mean, the first thing that springs to mind is electrolytes that a load of people don't bother to balance early on in keto or carnivore. But is it that? Yeah, it could be something else. Who knows?
Another question I had for you. So I love talking to you because you're coming from like the healing perspective, and really and my channel, I'm focused more on like the performance and the anti-veganism perspective, I guess.
Well, I'm into all of these things.
Yeah. I know. It's great. You got it all. Like I do support carnivore. I always tell people I don't eat a carnivore diet. I eat like a somewhat carnivore diet. Certainly the meals I have, I mean, not many people out there are just eating a pound of T-bones of ribeye steak day after day after day after day for lunch like I do. You know, that's still not normal. I'm not your typical omnivore, you know? And I don't go to McDonald's and I don't eat French fries with my burger, you know, and stuff like that. Except for last night. So don't hit me. But like, what have you seen on the performance front as full-fledged carnivores? Because you've seen a lot of healing. You've seen a lot of those type of transformations. Have you seen people like your Sean Bakers, really putting on muscle mass and performance? You know, what have you seen with that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's quite amazing what you can do. It's you see, I don't really consult with people. I used to be a personal trainer, and I used to own my own gym and run it. And so I remember, knowing really a lot about, before it was kind of popular, all the high intensity interval training and 20 rep squats and things like that, you know, and all that real abbreviated training. And I used to write for the mags and whatever. And I saw some amazing things, but I would never get people lean. And I didn't get lean myself. I mean, I was not overweight back then. You know, if I really sort of concentrated, I could sort of see a top ab, but I never got properly lean, however much cardio I did. And then suddenly, you know, on the carnivore thing, you seem to be able to build muscle and stay lean at the same time, which is, it seems quite miraculous, unless you really overdo the dairy. You know, that can keep the fat up there a bit. But what I see, an interesting story about me personally, I mean, on the group, I see all sorts of wonderful stories about people making these tremendous gains that they haven't done before, and the recovery as well. You know, the recovery that they're having without their body also fighting all the carbs and whatever is extraordinary. I in 2013, 2014, I finally got enough inflammation out of my body that I could train again. And I had an Olympic bar and a trap bar in the garage and a bunch of Olympic plates. I didn't have a power rack. I couldn't do any benches. I got rid of that, but I still had a bunch of stuff in there. And so I thought, right, let's put some muscle back on, because I was like 9 stone, which is 123 pounds, I think, 125 pounds, something like that.
That's
at 5'10". I was really ridiculously skinny by then. I'd come down from like 210 pounds when I was fat and ill. And properly emaciated. And so I thought, right, it's time to train again. And over that winter, I ended up, let me see, I'm crap at working it out. So I ended up to like 12.5 stone. So it was 2.5 stone in muscle. So that's 30 pounds, probably something like 35 pounds I put on over one winter. Some of it was fat, but a lot of it was muscle. And it absolutely blew me away. And this was training like Doug McGuff super slow, abbreviated 8 minutes a week, basically, you know, just full blown. And it was incredible. And when I went vegan, all of the muscle I had, and I had a load of muscle left under all my fat that I had as well, but it all disappeared.
Yes.
But with the carnivore thing, 2013, 2014, that's all I did. I trained over that winter. Then I stopped. I couldn't, so I'm burping, so much fizzy water I've drunk. And so I did that training, put all this muscle back on. And then for the next 4 years, just did nothing. And it all stayed on, you know, the whole lot stayed on. And that amazed me, because I thought, I better train. But I got so lazy over the last 4 years. I got involved in so many things and music and God knows what. My life took off again. Now I could actually play drums again, and you know, and I had a new little boy, and all this craziness happened. And so I was really focused on all kinds of other stuff, and I didn't bother to train. And it's only since I dropped butter and then got really lean again recently, and noticed that, all right, I put on maybe 15 pounds, 20 pounds of muscle in that winter. I'm still pretty skinny. So I started training again, and I'm amazed at what's happening, because all I'm doing is like every other day. Usually hours of train really heavy, really abbreviated, and do it once a week. Now I'm trying something different, which is just body weight stuff. You know, I'll put my cymbal bag on my back and do like 50 squats or something like that. And I'll do a chin up bar with wide grip and close grip, and I'll do dips on the back of chairs and some push-ups, all to failure, you know, with my feet up on the couch. So I'm aiming downwards a bit. And it's amazing what's happened. You know, half a stone, which is about 7 pounds, has gone on since April.
Yeah.
And I'm 57. And I'm like, whoa, you know, because I put up a picture and I said, all right, you know, I'm going to see if you can put muscle on it, whatever. And I'm probably like, what am I now? 140 is 10 stone. So it's about 150 pounds now. But, you know, it would be nice to be something like 160, 170 again. I don't want to be massive again. But it's so easy on this carnivore diet. And the recovery is so incredible. I find, you know, hardly any soreness. And I can I can train like 48 hours later, which would have been a joke to me before. No, you need at least a week or 10 days to recover, you know, but absolutely not, you know. So it's you see, all I can speak about, I go mostly from personal experience, which of course, obviously the vegans laugh at, but I'm seeing similar things in other people, but because I'm not training people. But I think I'd like that to change. I'd quite like to get back into it again, you know, when I get it. But my problem is that of all the joints that I had affected, you know, dozens, and I've got out of all of them and no damage in any of them except for the left knee, and it's pretty fucked. You know, I've got the inflammation out, but it still holds on to a bit of fluid, and it only really bends like 90 degrees. So even my mountain biking is compromised. So now I'm also doing the whole rehabilitation thing, and I'm even thinking of bringing in the whole snake juice and 3-day fasting thing to see if I can clear out all that old shit, because it does. Dry fasting does amazing things. So it's this whole new biohack now, and try and be. Have
you used a foam roller?
Sorry,
have you done the whole foam roller routine a couple times on that area, the affected area?
No, I haven't done that. I've done all sorts of other stuff, but it's just the one joint that's kind of tricky. So I can't go in like. What I'd love to do is to go back in the gym and do my old 20 rep squat routine. You know, that was amazing. Yeah. Nothing builds muscle like that. It's a beast. In fact, just that one set of that a week's probably going to grow your arms better than anything else. I've seen incredible results on it.
Wow.
But whatever people seem to do, they seem to be growing on this carnivore thing, you know, and I think it just naturally puts on so much bone density, muscle density. And you see, you know, there's a lot of women, they'll come and they've been on a really low carb thing, or low calorie or low fat thing, or vegan, and they're overweight. And then they come along and they say the scales go up, you know, initially. You must have seen this. And, you know, you say, well, just ignore the scales and use the tape measure, because they're rebuilding the body from the inside. The scales are going to go up for a while, you know, until the metabolism sorts itself out and starts to release the fat as well. But my God. Incredible stuff that I've seen go on. Yeah, with the performance stuff. But it'll be nice to get into that, because I was really sick, and then a brief period of training, and then kind of just freewheeling for 4 years. So it's only just now I've got back into it. I thought, how much muscle can an old 57-year-old dude build? But it seems to be coming on quite quick, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Sean Baker's out there crushing it, he's maintaining an incredible amount of muscle mass, you know, and he's not even super lean. So, you know, he's overeating a little bit on purpose to maintain his size and even grow at an optimal rate for muscle mass and performance. You know, he's not trying to be super lean, but I'm sure if he were to like dial in his calories to like a bodybuilder spec and not ultimate power spec, he would probably lean out about 20, 30 pounds and to just be shredded to be beyond belief and be massive, you know?
Yeah.
I wanted to show you this.
Again, it's just what you want to do and how you have to.
That was
how you feel.
I don't know if you can see that on your end here.
I'm just moving it along. Oh yeah.
That was like less than 6 months of just body weight stuff in the garage. Just body weight stuff. Nothing crazy, and doing mostly carnivore. You know, adding in carbs here and there. But honestly, I mean, the diet was damn near carnivore, and I wasn't gaining weight, so there was no like, it wasn't it was just literally a body recomposition slowly over time. I started at 143, you know, I'm still 143 today basically. So the muscle mass. I got way leaner. I actually tested at 9.9% body fat the other day when I joined the gym.
Cool.
And I hadn't even worked out in like 6 weeks. And I went in there, smashed the weights. I'm already back in full swing. Like normally it takes you, if you take a month and a half off, it takes you like a week or 2 weeks to like get back in. I'm immediately gaining strength just from one workout to the next one. So
yeah, it's amazing. All of this stuff that I used to recommend to people, start really slowly and do this and do that. I mean, all the rules seem to go out of the window, just like they do with health when you get onto this kind of thing. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because previously when I would talk to people about diet or even training or whatever, and you'd have to kind of back it up and sort of say, oh, well, this maybe and this maybe. And now you're just so confident with it. People just think, oh, well, he's lost it. He's lost the plot. He's barking mad. It can't be this good. It's too good to be true. Particularly
all they need to do is try it.
Again. Huh?
All they need to do is try it. Try it for a month and that's it. You can make your own decision. It's like, it's like you said, you're so confident with it. It's the same with me. Like, that's crazy. There's even John Venus and his brother just made a video the other day talking about how there was benefits in muscle growth to them going vegan. Like, what the hell are they talking about? John Venus was shredded and jacked before he went vegan. And yes, he may have gotten stronger slowly over time. And I'm not saying he's on steroids, but if he is, then obviously that completely negates any vegan benefits that he may have had. But and I'm not saying he's on steroids, but what I'm saying is there's no freaking way you're going to tell me that being vegan had benefits to muscle gaining and power over meat. I mean, you can get 200 grams of meat a day and you're going to be like it's going to seem like you're on steroids. I mean, you're going to be gaining all over the place. You go do pull-ups and you're basically gaining if you're eating enough protein because all your IGF-1, everything's just through the roof. His body is like anabolic as hell. It almost doesn't matter what you do at that point. You go sling some weights around in the gym, you're going to get bigger and stronger.
Absolutely.
And as a vegan,
I mean, I think all of this business about your body tells you. When I took the gym over, I took this gym over in '97, and I was veggie, and I ended up eating a whole load of chicken because your body just it can't cope with it. I've done it when you really start to lift heavy. Your body, if you increase that every week, eventually your body just goes, this shit's just not working. Even a few eggs doesn't do it. So it was like chicken breasts and all of this kind of stuff and eggs and everything. And I just ate anything that wasn't nailed down. And it worked, but I would have all sorts of injuries and I'd have recovery problems and all of that kind of thing. And yet still, I mean, I was kind of pretty old when I took it over. I was 35 when I took it over. And I thought, can I actually build muscle? I was probably, maybe, I don't know, 150 pounds when I went in there and just put on so much muscle so quickly to prove to the steroid boys who were in there that you can do it without. And I just did it with a really abbreviated stuff and from the Hard Gainer magazine, Stuart McRoberts Brawn and all of that kind of thing. And I ended up knowing Stuart and writing for the mag. And he was very cool. It was such a good mag that was, none of the crap, none of the steroids, none of the powders, nothing. Just basic iron and really abbreviated hard training. And some of the best trainers in the world, writing for it. Great stuff. Just those big movements. And that's all I did. And then, of course, suddenly I started to really balloon. And then all the guys, all the steroid boys were going, so you're on the gear now, are you? And you're like, fuck, you can't win, can you?
Can't win. And the chat, I see the chat. People are talking about for some reason, bro science is getting thrown around. And sorry, I gotta comment on this because Rogan just had Robert Oberst on his show, which is a currently competing strongman, right? And he talks about the vegans, and of course, you knew that was going to go viral and get the vegans' attention. So Vegan Gains made a response video, and he's pissed in this video. He's fired up, and all the vegans are like, "Oh god, that's so much bro science. That guy's spitting bro science." And there's this guy commenting, talking about the bro. I'm like, oh, hold on. Sorry, I got to collect myself now when I'm responding to this. So you're telling me the guy who actively competes in World's Strongest Man is following bro science? Like, whatever the fuck he's doing is the state-of-the-art science. Whatever you think you know, Mr. 160-pound guy who goes to Crunch Fitness down the street, this guy is 10 times stronger than you. and he's eating 20,000 calories a day. This is a dedicated strongman competing at the highest level. And you're saying what he's doing is bro science. Like, what he's doing is working. What the hell are you talking about, dude? It blows my mind when people are like, it's like you see this with unorthodox athletes, like a pitcher who has maybe a weird pitching arm or something like that. People are like, oh, if he were to just change this, he'd be the best pitcher in the world. It's like, dude, he's a professional MLB pitcher. This is how he pitches. Like a golfer with a weird golf swing, or a boxer with a weird unorthodox, he keeps his hands low, but he's boxing at the highest level. This is how they box. This is how they got there. You, Mr. Couch Potato guy, have no right to be criticizing somebody who's 1,000 times more skilled than you. You know what I mean? Talking about this professional strongman and saying what he's doing is bro science. He's writing the science. We should be doing what he's doing, you know? Anyway, shit gets me fired up.
I saw the response. It was this Patrick Baboumian guy or whatever his name is. Can't remember. Mm-hmm. But, you know, did you see his response to it?
Yes. He talks, well, Vegan Gains put his response in his video. And he's saying stuff like, well, you know, I've won all these competitions, and you're saying that this guy who's never won a competition in his life is criticizing me. It's like, number one, Patrick Baboumian shows all the list of his wins before he went vegan. He won a couple things after he went vegan, true. But he won a lot of stuff, all his pro shows before he went vegan on steroids, self-admittedly. And then he's giving criticism to this guy who's competing in World Strongman, which just being in that competition in the first place is more accomplished than anything Patrick Baboumian has ever done in his life. So he's criticizing a guy. It's like saying, oh, I won the Little League World Championships. What the hell have you done? But the guy's in the Major League Baseball competing. You know what I mean? Like, sorry, but your win at this low tier does not even compete with this guy just being in that league. Just him being in that league in the first place means that he's more accomplished than you, so settle down.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, I can't criticize either of them because they're all 10 times stronger than me, but yeah. It is pretty obvious to me that, and also, is he not injured, this Baboumian guy or something, and he's having trouble with injuries and recovery, and I don't know. This guy in the chat, One Punch Vegan, all his world records were after he went vegan. Come on, stop twisting reality. I said he has got some records and he has got some competitions under his belt after he went vegan, but he's also got a lot of wins, and a lot of his pro record is pre-veganism. So please get that straight. Anyhow, you know, the thing is about this whole vegan bodybuilder and strongman and stuff like that. The thing that really occurs to me is the same as I answered about the fruitarian thing. Okay, some people might be able to do it for a bit, but what you notice is that most, like 99 out of 100 athletes who go vegan, very soon they come back to eating meat because it's just not working for them. You know, try it by all means, and if it works for you, but all this arguing about it and going, look at this guy. Look, most people who try veganism, whether they're athletes, bodybuilders, strongmen, whatever, they pack it in because it's not optimal human nutrition and it doesn't work for long. If somebody makes it work for a little bit longer and there's just that one guy out there, that is no reason to base your training decisions and health on it just because one guy says he's vegan. And quite honestly, I'm not sure that they are. I mean, I've heard a lot of reports of these vegan YouTubers who are still, I mean, it was wonderful when they come around again and admit they were wrong, but a shitload of them are eating meat and they're eating fish and whatever. And you know, I've heard of a particular supplier in England who supplies some of these vegans with their fish. Now, I don't know. Again, it's all rumors, but you know, having been vegan and having craved that stuff so much, I know the body tells you that, and eventually it's going to tell you that, particularly if you're training. So, you know, okay, if there are vegan athletes and vegan bodybuilders, great. Just watch them and just be cool. But don't use it and keep on trolling us with it, because we've seen it all before. You know, 1,000 times I've been linked to the same guys. What about this one guy who's vegan? Yeah, but what about 1,000? What about the 1,000 guys who've given up being vegan because it was shit and it ruined their sport? You know.
So here's what I have a couple. I call them, like, I don't know what to call them. Like they're nail in the coffin arguments against vegans that still haven't been able to. They don't want to engage in this. Let's say I always ask vegans if they come on the show or if they're in the chat. I always ask them, how many people do you think cannot do the vegan diet for the rest of their lives. So just give me a number, vegans. Like 1%? Like, do we want to just tell me 1%? 1% of the world can't be vegan because of their body for some reason doesn't accept it. Okay, fine. I mean, between me and you, Phil, we know it's like 99.9% can't be vegan, but let's go reverse here. We give them that. Okay, only 1%. Fine. How do you know if you're the 1% or the 99%? How do you know? You have to fucking test it. And then if it doesn't work for you, you might be part of that 1%. But see, vegans will never give me the 1%. They'll never say anything. They always zip it when it comes to that question, because as soon as they admit that even 1% can't be vegan, that opens the door to all the Pandora's box of potentially, like, again, how do you know if you're that 1%? You have to test it. That means that they have to actually go vegan and then think about if it's working for them after they go vegan. They don't want to think about that. They want to go vegan and assume that they've made the right choice, and then that's the end of the discussion. I went vegan, therefore I made the right decision on diet for the rest of my life, and that's a wrap. But they can't do it. So let's bring it to the chat, and let's see what people got for Phil. Anybody, you got any questions for Phil here? Let's get it a little interactive. We've kind of given you guys a little bit of love in the middle of the interview because Phil is good at multitasking. And well,
it's the first time I figured out how to bring up the chat and also have the Google Hangout thing on at the same time. I didn't realize how logical it was. You know,
you're advancing.
This is how bad I am at YouTube.
Well, the way I used to do it was you would see exactly what I see on my screen, and it gives like a half-second delay, and it was tripping out my guests. So now I've got two freaking webcams. So you got one webcam. That's why I'm all like super close to your... I look weird in that one. But the one that everybody else sees is like good. So, okay, Clown Mazard. Best source of iodine. Good question. What do you say, Phil? I have no idea where to get iodine.
Well, you know, it depends what you want to do. If you're eating a load of seafood and you're eating stuff like oysters and things, you know, you're going to get the iodine. But I think a load of people, something that's changed my mind recently, and I did go on about don't supplement, but I think there are some exceptions, like some magnesium salt, you know, some salts and stuff when you're transitioning. But also, I've seen such incredible things with iodine, with actually supplementing it in the form of Lugol's iodine, you know. And there's a guy on my carnivore group, the 100% Carnivore and Beyond, and other groups, but he's a bit of a genius, and his name's Carno Pine, and he's really changed my mind on it, you know. And he's mega dosing people, and he is himself, and some of the results he's having are really spectacular with all kinds of things. So I would say that unless you know specifically you have an iodine deficiency, or you've got something like my mum, where, you know, it's something hormonal, some breast cancer or something like that, or Hashimoto's. Like, I'm still trying to figure it out for Graves' disease, because, you know, if you get the iodine dosage wrong, you can blow up the thyroid. But with you know, with Hashimoto's and whatever, if you supplement with Lugol's iodine, I would say that's probably the best thing you can do. But if you have no particular deficiency, you see, people are always guessing that they've got some deficiency. Like, if you're feeling really great, you feel fantastic. When you know, don't muck about with it. Just eat whole food, animal products, and you're going to be fine. You're going to get everything that you need, more than likely. But if you have fallen behind for some reason, you've got some iodine deficiency, then, you know, if there's some thyroid issue or something like that, I think, you know, Lugol's is pretty good. But look into it and get on some of these iodine support groups and find out the dosage, because I just guessed with my mum and I got lucky. But when I look at it now, I don't think I actually got it as right as I could have got it, you know. So from what I learned, I know now. So yeah.
I want to respond to this guy, One Punch Vegan. He does claim to know a lot of stuff. He likes to argue with me in my comments. So he's saying, because you just did it wrong, like 99% of people who fail. I'm assuming he's talking about the vegan diet. He's responding to somebody else. Okay, so One Punch Vegan, I've told you to go watch my video on why vegans are always wrong. I highlight my exact diet. Please go watch that right now before we finish the stream, and then come back and give me a critique about what I did wrong, because I had a perfect, flawless, well-balanced vegan diet for over a year at the end, and it still sucked. So please
yeah,
come
me
back.
too. Me too.
come
That's
back
the thing,
to
you see, if
reality.
something is so damn complicated, isn't that some idea that you're getting it wrong? It's like the whole Goji Man thing when, you know, people say, oh, you should go to Goji Man and he's got all these protocols to fix your gut bacteria on veganism and whatever. But the thing is, it's not that difficult. Everybody has tried these things. You know, all these carnivores, we've tried it all. We've done every whole food plant-based diet. We've tried every detox in the world. We've tried every probiotic and prebiotic, and it doesn't fucking work like just eating meat all day long. It just works so beautifully, and it's so simple.
Here's what's funny. Okay, I did a 30-day juice fast. Not to toot my own horn, but that's not easy. That's extreme, right? Pretty extreme. If I'm the type of person who can go through the extent, the difficulty, the time investment, I bought a $500 juicer, I did all this stuff in order to execute a 30-day juice fast, wouldn't I be capable of eating a well-balanced whole food plant-based diet? And wouldn't I try that first? That's fucking easy. I did that for the whole time I was vegan, and I still felt like I needed something else to supplement the diet because it wasn't good enough, you know? Man, I was so annoying in Hawaii with all the people there. Like, I showed up on the doorstep of Hawaii, and I was constantly critiquing and questioning the vegan diet. And everybody's there like, vegan, la la land, we're all here together. And I'm like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, you're overweight. You're not that healthy. I feel like shit. I have bad digestion all the time. I live with girls, by the way, right? So couple different girls that I live with, and I can't name the names, they love the whole heavy fruit thing. They felt cleansing, and they felt like it was helping them maintain their weight and whatever, which is bullshit because the girls that were doing this were the ones that had the extra weight to begin with. Do you guys know how many times I heard women stomping down the hallway straight to the bathroom? I mean, keep in mind, Hawaii, we've got all the windows open, real thin walls, there's no insulation. Do you know how many times I heard people blowing their butt cheeks out on that toilet? and like, for real, the indigestion was across the board. And it's always funny, you hear everybody talking about the amazing digestion they have on fruit. That's not always the case, man.
No, I mean, they think, I remember thinking that. And you know, you think, oh, great, I'm shitting 6 times a day. And it's just bollocks, isn't it? Something really amused me back here. I got to see this. Somebody said, you can say you were lying and secretly gorging on margarine or something. I just love that expression, gorging on margarine. I mean, who the fuck would want to do that? It's the most revolting substance in the world.
Disgusting.
That's so funny.
Pure chemicals.
I love that. Yeah, but then, you know, suddenly you're producing these beautiful turds on carnivore. You know, and there they are, and they're just sitting in the bog. And I think I amused Sean Baker on the HPO just saying, I want to wake my missus up in the morning and just say, hey, come and have a look at this. It's amazing. And it is after years of blowing my butt cheeks out and just really sore ass and hemorrhoids and everything. And then all of a sudden, everything's fixed with the exact thing that they tell you is going to cause all of it. You know, it's insane, isn't it? So, yeah, I know. And, you know, somebody's popped up here saying 43 years plant-based, no issues. Now, again, a lot of people have said this.
Never met one person.
Andrew's here. Hey, Andrew. Yeah, he's just tuned in and already a conversation on farting. He's English and he knows I have a terrible toilet sense of humor. So, yeah, he's probably not surprised at that.
The devil is in the details of the toilet, guys. Like, you can sum it up like this. If you've got to wipe more than one time, that's just a verification wipe. If you got to wipe more than once, there's some improvement you can make, right? Like, it's really funny that you know, I believe the Europeans, they really pioneered the bidets. As if it's some sort of like higher end technology. Like, the fact you guys need bidets is not good. You know, like, how dirty are your cheeks that you need a bidet to sandblast the cheeks out? Like, you should be pooping like little solid dry turds basically that require no wiping. Just like I said, a verification wipe. No animal in nature needs toilet paper. Keep that in mind.
Yeah. In England, well, sometimes they're called angels. because you got the dog paper over your finger like that, and it's just a nice white angel. It's called an angel. A one wipe wonder. Yeah.
One wipe wonder. You better be able to just wipe one time, guys. And I used to be talking about that all the time in Hawaii. Actually, there was like a 3 to 6 month period where I thought I had digestion figured out as a vegan, and it was when I was doing strictly whole foods, plant-based, low protein, like 60 grams a day. Some days would be thrown off because I would have too much starch, or like potato didn't cook all the way through, and I would get the bloating. But most of the time during that period, I was actually having good digestion. And as soon as I went to like nuts and nut butters to actually bring my weight up, because I was like 136 pounds, I really couldn't put on any weight at all. My muscles were very weak. Even though I was working out 4 or 5 days a week, I was not putting on any appreciable muscle mass or performance. I decided it was time to actually increase the calories and the protein. And as soon as I did that, digestion gone. It was the worst digestion I had ever experienced.
Oh God, yeah, the nuts will do it. You know, I used to be a real peanut butter addict, and that would definitely do it. My God, the pain peanut butter in the morning.
Yeah, and then I got this horrible stomach pain. And I thought it was salmonella, but what I'm probably realizing now is, after shoving down so much peanut butter in my smoothies, it's probably some sort of like leaky gut symptoms that took about a week to heal. And the only thing that healed it, oddly enough, was I took like a shot of olive oil one morning, and it made it go away, and it never came back. And I didn't care how it went away, but I drank like 2 ounces of olive oil because I thought it was a gallbladder attack, and I thought that I was doing too low of fat, and I don't know, but it went away. So
you tried a sort of halfway there liver flush type of thing.
Kinda, yeah. I remember John Rose talking about that. He's the juice fasting guy on YouTube, the resident juice fasting expert. Says that everybody should juice fast for like 90 days to shit out the serpent in their stomach. And that's why I initially did the juice fast. But after 30 days, I was starving for something to just chew on, because 30 days is an insane amount of time to juice fast. All right.
Yeah,
so
somebody said, oh no, not gallbladder cleanser. So yeah, cool. Yeah, they don't really work. I mean, I'd done 40 plus liver flushes, the whole Epsom salt and olive oil thing, right? Because when I was vegan, I just it used to actually give me like 4 or 5 days of respite from inflammation. Now, even to this day, I don't really think it does what it says it does with cleaning the liver out. It does something amazing. It does really amazing things, actually. And I understand the people who always attack me when I mention it, saying it's crap science and it's nonsense and the body doesn't work like that. Quite possibly, but I did 1,000 really weird woo-woo things before I discovered carnivore to try and heal, and they were all crap. So it's not me being woo-woo. I'm just telling you that liver flushes absolutely work. It's not. It might not be by the process we think. Maybe it's just a clean out for the digestive system. Maybe it does something to regroup this and that, or gets rid of certain bacteria or whatever. But yeah, it's what it did. Now people say to me, if you want a gallbladder flush, well, there is a way of doing it with a drug called ersodiol, and it actually it shrinks down the gallstones, but they don't use it because, of course, on a diet that they tell people to have, which is all low fat, then the gallstones always come back again. But if you shrink them down with this ersodiol shit, then go on a really high fat, low carb diet, then you won't get gallstones anymore. There's no need to have a gallbladder cut out. But the liver and gallbladder flush, as Andreas Moritz described it in his book, I mean, very rarely I've seen people say they actually get gallstones out, but I think most of the time it could actually be quite dangerous. If you do shift it, it could get stuck in the duct and you could have a real bad problem. So I don't think it's really the way to approach it for gallstones, or probably not even for liver stones, like people say, all this stuff that comes out, that looks like a load of garden peas floating in the toilet, bright green stones that come out the liver. I'm not sure they even come from the liver. I don't know what's going on, but just when people say it actually works and it does some amazing things, it does. I mean, my girlfriend did about 12 of them, and she's from Tanzania. She's black, And black people, they get a lot of, they can get a lot of keloid scars. So the scars can be very lumpy. She had a cesarean scar and a scar here where she had a lump taken out of her neck years and years ago. And the scars were really lumpy and they completely flattened out. And I don't know, maybe it's doing something like the same process of dry fasting on the skin or something, but it does do amazing things. But yeah, it's not, don't let anybody sort of say that I say that it clears stuff out the liver and gallbladder, because it doesn't. But even after doing 40, I don't know what the fuck it does, but it did some really interesting things, on an experience level. And all the other things didn't. I've tried everything, all these enemas and coffee enemas and, castor oil packing and Christ, all of this stuff that you do when you're vegan to try and heal while you stay vegan, because the veganism's fucking you up,
Totally. Yeah. And so my good friend Megan Elizabeth, who I live with in Hawaii, who was vegan for over 10 years, was basically a founder of the community in many respects. She has gone very, very high meat-based recently in the past 6 months and achieved a lot of health benefits. She's been on my show and talked about it. And she says, so what happened with her was, it was interesting. So I was always complaining about bad digestion, especially when consuming raw vegetables. And she was one of those that would eat those big salads at night for dinner. And she would eat maybe 1 or 2 pounds of just greens, vegetation, spinach and all that stuff. And she digested it very well. And I didn't even believe her. I would constantly be like, you're lying, you're full of crap. There's no way you can actually do that. You must have gas. She's like, Drew, I swear to God, there's no bloating, there's no gas, there's no issue. Because that would be my issue. Now, what I'm starting to realize is that the people who do have the bad digestion with veganism, their body is reacting appropriately. The people who don't have any negative reaction to all that fiber, something has gone wrong with their system that is allowing them to do this, because she did do the very low fat thing for a long time. And when she shifted away from all the greens and the vegetables, which were probably giving her a bunch of oxalate buildup and gallbladder stones and stuff like that, when she went to the meat, she was having extreme pain and certain things in her gallbladder. And finally, it took her a few months to fix it or pass them or whatever happened, because I think her bile completely shut down for years and years and years. And it actually was, I don't know, either not responding when she started eating foods that required hydrochloric acid and bile to pass and digest them. Hopefully my biology is somewhat correct here, but I think that is what was causing her the issues. And then finally it corrected itself, and she's good now. She's totally good now. She wanted to wait till she came on my show till she was fully functioning and firing and digesting all of her meat properly. And eventually she did get to that point. So I was wondering if you had heard anything about that and what you think about that. People who actually can digest these fibers because they're just not having a negative reaction. What I think is happening is they're not having any bile to begin with.
Well, I'm not really sure what's going on. I mean, I just see it from the outside, and I see, and from me, really, when I started, I didn't really have any issues. It took pretty much years to kick in for me. I guess there was a bit of extra farting. I'm trying to think back to when I actually started eating those beans and pulses. I don't know, but there was no real discomfort. There was just, oh yeah, that's quite funny. Beans make you fart, whatever, But no real serious issues, and it took years to set in. And I've never had a problem with fats because I always ignored the low fat thing. I've always, even if I've gone and got fries from some fast food place or a fish and chip shop like we have in England, I'll still have them 50-50 with butter. I mean, you were saying that potatoes are your weak point. They are mine as well. You see, I don't have them at all anymore, but that's the one thing that I miss. I don't miss broccoli. I don't miss any of that shit, or avocados. But if I could eat fries or a baked potato 50-50 with butter, or roast potatoes with butter, I could eat all of that. Now, I would still eat all the fat. So I think I kept up my bile production, and I didn't suffer from that. But the people who go really low fat, and their digestion might be okay for a while, and then there are always issues set in the end. And I do see a lot of people when they go really high fat or carnivore and they have to start taking these betaine HCl supplements or whatever to help with the digestion to start with. And they do say that this whole liver flush thing kind of helps to kick that in, but I really have no idea about that because that's just theory. Maybe it's just forcing the gallbladder to produce a whole load of bile because you throw so much olive oil down you. I don't know, but yeah, it does seem to balance out in time. But the people who have gone really low fat for a while or don't have a gallbladder sometimes have issues with dealing with that fat. But I don't know what's happening. Again, I just and I hear these theories about all sorts of things. You know, it's like the microbiome. It's something I've been thinking about lately. Is this business of the Hadza, you know, and everybody's really obsessed with having a really diverse microbiome like the Hadza in Tanzania, and you know the Hadza are okay, but they don't have any of our real massive amount of disease epidemic. But I do see that they might be something, you know, with the teeth, and they don't have such great health there, and you know, it's because they eat a whole load of plants. And everybody wants sort of fecal implants from the Hadza because they've got this diverse microbiome. And it's like, to me, it's like wanting a modern car with all these ridiculous bells and whistles on it so you can't fix it. You know, if it goes wrong, you need to get towed in and you need somebody to fix a computer up to it and stuff like that. What happened to the days where, you know, if your motorbike broke down or something and you could just fix it with a spanner, you know, and this is it, because the Hadza, they're all obsessed with how healthy the Hadza are, and they don't look that great to me. You know, they look okay, but compared to someone, you know, like a tribe of Maasai or something, they can look absolutely formidable. And they're, you know, a couple of 100 miles away, or maybe 100 miles or whatever. There's the Maasai, and they're 7 foot tall and killing lions with their bare hands, and they've got some more simplified gut flora. And you say, why are we so obsessed with this gut flora? So, you know, people have these theories of things, and I don't know. You know, the more I study, the more I realize I don't know, but neither does anybody else. And I listen to it all, and somebody like Paul Saladino blows me away because, you know, his knowledge is astonishing on all the levels of all of this. And I'm sure that, you know, a lot of it is right, but I'm sure a lot of it is wrong as well, because people just don't understand. And people are guessing about this whole microbiome thing. Every time somebody says they're a real expert in the microbiome, I kind of laugh because I don't think they are. Everybody's got a different idea about what's going on and what is this business of simplifying it and whether we need this diversity and what this bacteria does and that one does. Nobody really has any idea. So I think just, you know, go back to absolute basics, beef and water, bring it up, and then introduce other things and see what the fuck happens, you know. And you can listen to all these scientists. I do. I think they amaze me, and I admire them. But are they getting it right? No, but that's science, isn't it? It moves on. It gets things wrong. As soon as somebody says settled science, that's the most unscientific thing you can possibly say. It's nonsense.
I know. I love the whole term science deniers. Like, okay, let's go 20 years ago. That science was different than the science today, and it'll be different than the science tomorrow. And it's just funny to be a science denier. It's like science is evolving all the time. We can't just like, that's why studies that are done on human biology or whatever in 1999 aren't as relevant today, because we have advanced every piece of the technology involved in this and the understanding and awareness to begin with that this information is kind of no longer valid, really. And a guest that I had on recently was Izzy Davis. She, God, I forgot what her major was in the realm of dietetics and biology and stuff like that. But she went to Berkeley University, high-end university in Northern California. She's in labs doing all kinds of testing on food and stuff like that. And I brought this up to vegans. I was like, you realize we don't know all of the nutrients and all of the things that are in food yet. And they're like, what do you mean? Yeah, we do. I think Vegan Gains was the one. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. We know everything in the food. We know everything in a banana. We know. It's like, no, we don't. She says you have to first be aware that something is in the food to begin with. Then you can test for it, to test how much is in it. So we're still discovering things. And this is from a girl who was doing labs and does the current modern science and research now. That's above and beyond what Vegan Gains has ever done in his life. He has no idea what he's talking about when it comes to this. We're still discovering, nutrients or things that are included, polyphenols, and these little things that are going on in these foods. We don't have any idea what every single thing is in there.
Also, not only that, but how these things react with each other, which becomes even more complicated. I mean, there's a couple of comments here where one punch vegan, I poop once a day in the morning, no problems after 21 years of veganism. Well, yes, absolutely great, fantastic if that's working. But, for 99% of people, it doesn't. We've already kind of been there. And also says Phil is not a Maasai warrior. We have multiple genetic mutations because of their diet. Yeah, okay, I'm not a Maasai warrior, but, the thing is, what we're seeing is when people start to eat this 100% carnivore diet, when they're coming from a plant-based diet, there is enormous healing. If you're eating plants and you really love plants and you don't mind how many animals it kills in the fields, because veganism, it's certainly not compassionate, but if you really like that food, absolutely go for it, man. Eat it, enjoy it. And they don't, why is it that this genetic mutation thing? No, I believe that meat is the basic food as a reset thing. It's not extreme. It's just the basic reset food that nobody appears to be allergic to. And so if you're really sick, go to it and then add in whatever you like. So this business of and I'm not a Maasai warrior, but I'm a human being. And it seems to work with everybody. It seems to work with everybody who tries it, who has multiple issues. And I had absolutely multiple issues and they all went away. And they didn't on a plant-based diet. And Andrew, who's a friend of mine, Andrew Scarborough, a fabulous story there with his, controlling his whole brain tumor thing. Just wonderful, wonderful story, Andrew. And he says, Hadza and Maasai spend all their time outside and connected to nature. This is just as important, if not more than their diet, and will have an impact on their gut microbiome. Absolutely. This is so important as well. You're going to get away with eating like Jack Crew says, you can eat shit off a shingle if you stay in the sun all day. I don't think it's quite like that, particularly if you're already ill. But this is completely right. The Hadza will be able to eat loads of plants because they're out there. They're eating seasonal local plants, and they're out there under the sun, and they've got their bare feet on the ground, and they've got all of this is so important, and they've got natural light. And that does have more of an impact on the gut microbiome. But people don't understand how important light is in the gut microbiome. All these things that vegans are not taking into account. They're just going, oh, well, I've been vegan. I've been healthy for this many years.
They're not vegan either. The Hadza are not 100% vegan, are they?
No, of course not. No. So, and they seem to be in the same situation where you're probably going to get away with a much more plant-based diet because they're right down there, near the equator and whatever. You're going to get away with a much more of a plant-based diet because of so many factors that the vegans never even look into. So still, to me, I don't know, the Maasai look better. And they're eating the meat. Same. So even under the sun, even with your feet on the ground, the Maasai still look better. If you're fine and you've been eating this plant-based stuff for ages, well, fine, brilliant. But you just got to, I just don't see where the whole religions come from about diet, As soon as you can see that the vegan diet is not compassionate and people are healing on just meat, fixing diseases that just meat is supposed to cause, that should be the end of it. Then it's just like experiment, do your own damn experiments and just, why is there ever even this argument? I don't understand it. It's so bizarre. I don't see any. The only people who argue about carnivore are people who haven't tried it. Full stop. And because it's the last resort. The one thing vegans miss is, I think carnivores, by and large, are some of the most educated people I've ever met in diet, because you've got to really educate the hell out of yourself before you'd even try it, because it's so insane. So, most people who are carnivore or come anywhere near it have tried pretty much everything else. And these vegans, they've usually eaten a standard diet, then they've gone vegan, felt a bit better, and then they carry on. And they go, oh, well, I used to eat meat. I was a carnivore. No, you weren't. You had a bit of steak, you had a bit of hamburger with your bread roll and all of that kind of thing. So you've never tried it, and you're stuck in the morality thing. So, this is the thing that gets me. So one punch vegan, sorry, man. I mean, the points you're making are just stuff that we've heard a million times before. And us old guard, like me, who are old codgers and have been through all the different diets, we've made all these arguments and we look back at them with embarrassment because they were just so brainwashed and narrow-minded, So, chill and eat your veg if you like it, but don't think that meat is dangerous, and don't think that veganism is compassionate. Those are my only two things. If we could realize that, we could all just get on and eat what the fuck we like.
I feel like that might be the best way to end this here. We've gone over 2 hours with Phil. We could probably sit here and talk all day. I feel like I've known this guy forever. He's very easy to talk to. And how about we call it quits? And I've got a few more minutes. I will finish up with the audience here. But Phil, you've absolutely killed it today, and I think people really enjoyed this one.
Oh, well, it was great to actually finally chat to you, man. It's been great to see your progress, and I've been watching loads of your stuff, and it's very cool.
Awesome.
And thank you for being so open-minded. Vegans need to listen to Drew about being open-minded and chilled, you know?
I again, another little Drewism. I did say this in my vegan to carnivore video. The open mind that got you into veganism should remain open, even while vegan.
Yeah.
Like, it brought you to veganism. Why close that door? You know, leave it open. Like, you thought veganism was the best. Maybe there's even a better option. Just like Phil said, carnivore might not be the best option long term. There might be something that's even way better, but he hasn't found it yet. So
yeah, exactly. I'm open to anything. I've been wrong too many times. I'm old enough to have been wrong so many times.
Well, that's the humility of the vegan thing, right? For 4.5 years, I was sitting there telling everybody, "Oh, I felt so much better going vegan. Veganism is the best. Don't you know about heart disease? You know, like all this stuff." And I had to just basically be like, "I was 100% wrong about everything. I'm so sorry. Go eat as much meat as possible." And they're like, "We can't trust you at all anymore, Drew. Like, we're done. We're done with you." So now I just moved to the internet and start preaching. You know.
Good boy.
Okay, well, Phil, thank you once again.
Mate,
we'll
thank
close
you.
it out here. Have a good day, man. Thank you.
You too.
Phil Escott, everybody. I saw Carnival popped in the chat. Welcome. Bienvenidos. Everybody say bye to Phil. Phil rocks, man. What a cool dude. Everybody loves Phil. Everybody loves Phil. Phil was instrumental in me going vegan because he made me go research stuff I didn't even want to consider was a realistic potential thing. I thought he was a madman. And you know, it's 8:12 over there, 8:12 p.m. in the UK, and Phil's just crushing it. PewDiePie Felix mixed the entire thing. Well, you will get the replay in about an hour and a half once YouTube processes the whole thing. Good chat. That was a fun chat. Definitely super easy to get along with. I could talk to Phil for hours, but now I'm getting hungry. I also need to hit the gym, so I got to do some things, but it's all right. We're going to chill here for a few more minutes. You know how I was getting itchy this morning. I was racing home trying to get to the chat, trying to get to the mic. If I go like 4 days without streaming, I feel like it's a very long time. What am I eating today? I'm gonna probably eat a steak. I need to get in that ribeye, pound of ribeye minimum. That gives me a good start to the day. It's 1,000 calories and it's 100 grams of protein. That's a good lunch. And then we go to dinner time. At least get in 60 to 80 grams of protein in the dinner time. Whatever that may be. If I'm hitting like 200 grams of protein a day, we're going to be putting on that muscle. And that's the goal right now. We're just lifting heavy, full body weight, 4 to 5 times a week in the gym with the iron. The gym will be empty today. It's going to be the best day to go to the gym is Sunday. Sunday afternoon. It is a ghost town. That's my little tip for you guys. If you hate going to the gym when it's packed, go on Sundays. There's nobody there. Everybody's out drinking in the middle of the day. So easy to put on muscle with 200 grams protein, bruh. Just getting thick. I noticed that, I was losing a little bit of credibility over here. I stopped working out in the home gym. I was like, what is Drew Morgan standing for? He's not working out. I'm just eating a bunch of cookies. I can't be this authority on ex-vegan to carnivore channel over here if I'm just normal, no working out. I'm not even carnivore. I'm just eating shit food. I said, hell no. Got to go back to the gym. We got to get these sweeps going here. This under sweep here. Ooh, God, look at the radius. That's only 1 week back in the gym, baby. Three sessions. Hopefully we can put on some significant mass. People were noticing. They're like, Drew, your shoulders are disappearing. And they were. I was looking at it in the freaking camera, just like you guys. I was like, God damn, I'm looking a little small here. We started to get a little bit of roundness back. It's just a little bit. I'm so small right now, 143 pounds. When I went to the gym and I signed up, you know, they're always trying to sell you the shit. They tested me at 9.9% body fat. Jem, you're welcome. She says, thanks for the awesome chat. T Tribby says, looks like you need Veggie Police's Monkey Strength ebook. Man, if I'm in the gym and I'm doing what I'm doing, I'm going to be blowing away anything Vegetable Police has ever put together. 100%. I'm going to actually gain muscle mass, like actual size. Because that's what the gym does when you lift heavy and you keep going and going and going and eating 200 grams of protein a day. You will throw down that muscle mass. Have I ever shown you guys my progress pictures back when I was 18 years old? I think I've tried one time. Let me show you guys what that looks like. I went from 123 pounds, scrawny little kid, didn't know anything about nutrition or weightlifting or nothing like that. I worked out for 3 months, and I gained 30 pounds, and I have pictures of it. Back then we weren't doing too much video stuff, but I will show you guys the progress pics right here. Where you at? God, so many pictures on my phone of the vegan days. What was I thinking? God, I can't wait to go shooting guns again. I've got a bunch of gun photos in my phone. Here's a good little photo for you guys. All right, Drew Morgan, back to eating meat. This is what you'd call an experienced shooter, guys. That's 5 shots. Same hole, okay? Don't break into my house. Let's see what else we can show you out of the phone. The phone chronicles. Oh, I skipped the photos. Shit. I should show you guys a photo of when I was 183 pounds. Max weight I've ever achieved in my life. A lot of fat. A lot of fat. Oh, you guys wanted to see the ankle photo. Here's the ankle photo when I twisted my ankle back in Hawaii. Oh, look at that. Ouch. Peasant's Daughter says, we just got a vintage Seiko rifle. Cool. Yes, that's my Glock 19. JG, what did you say? Something about the Glock. Let's see here. Trying to find my little skinny photo and then my progress photo. 3 months. Sorry. I feel very disengaged when I do this, but there's like 2,000 photos here. Man, Hawaii. I had so many cool photos from Hawaii. Where's these damn photos? Oh, here we go. Here's the 183 pounds photos. Oh, you guys ready for this? That's like, I look like Ted Carr right here. Just fat and puffy. I'm trying to get to focus. Hold on. It's the camera's focusing on me instead of the phone. Let me see if I can get it to focus better. There we go. Fat boy. 183. Oh, here we go. I found the skinny photos. Okay. So here we go. This is me, 18 years old, 123 pounds. Okay. Look at that. Focus. Okay. Now, here's what I did in 3 months. 3 months, 30 pounds. Where's the body fat? 3 months. That's it. I wish it would focus. There we go. Look at that. Three months. That's the power of meat. You will never, ever, 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 ever see a vegan do that. Ever, ever, ever. I don't care how much protein powder. Doesn't matter. This was 168 pounds just before I went vegan. This was the strongest I'd ever been in my life. Focus, focus, focus. Please focus. Please focus. There you go. So I know what I'm doing. It's just that freaking vegan diet robbed me of everything. Here I am with my buddy who weighs 200 plus pounds back when I was 28 years old in Cabo. Look how big my arms are. They're bigger than his. That's old school. Old school Drew Morg right there. Vintage. That guy's 200 pounds and I was 168. No gray hair either. Huh. I went vegan right after that. What happened? Why did I get gray hair after that? That's weird. No gray hair. Weird. But I went vegan and I got gray hair. Goddamn veganism, man. Really ruined my life. Any other good photos in here? What do you guys want to see? See if I can show you. My hair was super long in Hawaii. Somebody was saying something about the curly hair. Here, I'll show you this photo. My hair was getting pretty long. Check it out. Trying to get this thing to focus. So annoying. Ruined my life. My narcissism is too low to make pictures of me flexing. If you're not taking pictures of yourself flexing, then do you even self-love, bro? Come on. Anyway. Ooh, hang on. Let me see if I got this. One of my favorite pics of Ted Carr. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull this out of the archives. Give me a second. Give me a second for this one. This is worth it. Trust me. This pic is worth it. This is behind the scenes with Ted Carr, back when he had the fat belly. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. People say, I'm always bagging on Ted Carr. You guys ready for this? Redo the before pic? You get the point with the before pic. Here's the Ted Carr pic. You guys ready for I was telling Ted, I was like, Ted, you're getting fat, dude. You need to cut the gut. Oh, the camera's having trouble focusing because... Focus. Look at that. Pregnant Ted. What do you guys think of that? No, that was his belly. He was pushing it out a little bit, but he was real fat. 6 months pregnant. Men in their flexing pictures. You know what? Honest. We just like, giving ourselves some self-love. It's for documentation purposes. Okay says, how old is Drew? I thought he was in his 20s. I am 34. 34 years old, baby. Yeah, Phil. Yeah, I was 123 back in the day. Same exact weight, 5'10", exactly the same. I know how skinny that feels. It was exactly the same. I like sharing the phone archives. This is hilarious. Oh, I should show you this one. I'll show you my 1 year vegan progress pictures. You ready for this? Let me find it first. I had Christine Salas take these progress pictures for me when she was living at our house. Okay, here we go. So, check it out. This is yeah. It's degress for sure. Okay, this is after 5 months. I think I was working out already for like 4 months. I was probably 140 pounds here or so in Hawaii. Like, look at my eyes, like sunken in, all fucking skinny and crazy looking. I thought I looked so ripped there. I was so pumped. And then, okay, remember I showed you the pictures of how much I gained in 3 months on meat as an 18-year-old, right? Okay, now, this is a 1 year progress photo of me working my ass off and eating as much vegan food as I could. Are you ready? You're not going to notice that much difference. Look at the hair. Like, all I did was gain a little bit of fat, not a whole lot of muscle. I believe the weight difference there was 10 pounds. Not a whole lot different, really. Just a little bit fatter. Drew, a 6-pack on a skinny dude is like tits on a fat girl. Big deal, bro. Exactly. Trust me, I'm with it. And you guys want to see the ugliest photo I've ever taken of myself? Shakotan says, "Did you seduce anyone during that year?" What do you think? No, of course not. Kidding me? You see how disgustingly skinny I was? All right, I'm going to show you the ugliest photo I've ever taken of myself. This is vegan taking over my life right here. This was end stage veganism for me. Focus. Hang on, I'll get it. Ooh. See that? And look at the rip. I'm going to zoom in. Look at the ripples in my forehead. You ready? Look at this. Look at the ripples. Right? But Drew, did you get blood tests? Hang on. Wait, I'll show you right now. What's up? You ain't ever going to see vegan gains get up in the camera like this. Look at my forehead now. Yes. Fucking smoother today than it was 2 years ago. Nice forehead. The lentil hairline. Blood test, bro? How about this forehead, my dude? This is a silky, oily forehead now. Look at that. Look at the sheen, baby. Look at the sheen on that. Woo! The lentil hairline. That's the new line right there. The lentil hairline. Oh my god. Yeah, you do not need blood work, man. The vegan deterioration. I see people talking about the keto lines here too, by the way. I want to point something out to people. This is not, it's an optical illusion. So like I have these lines, but it's because of top-down lighting. See how it's a little bit dark in this angle? See that? But if I shine light at my face, that line is gone. The line is not there. It's top-down lighting. See, look. This appears in direct lighting. Top-down lighting, the lines are there. It's lighting. In direct light, those are just smooth. It's all one color. There's nothing there. I don't know why there's indentation there for top-down lighting. That's another argument. The lines around the mouth. Anyway, this is fun. What the hell are we doing here? What are we doing here? Just become a public spectacle. I should start twerking for money like Vegan Gains. I see why he does it now. We're out here showing foreheads. Next thing you know, the pants will be off. Oh my god. Anyway. Dr. Gregor, masculine AF. T. Trippy says, I think it's top-down lighting and the fact keto people actually have some plumpness in their cheeks. Maybe. Shell says, go work out. I got shit to do. You can leave. I'm just here grinding it out. I'm seeing how long I can fast. I'm going to go work out after this. Planetary Farm says, I want to send vegan deterioration. My picture changes, but not sure I want people making fun of me on YouTube. Dude, go for it. It's all good. Just send it in. Oh, I'm loving this camera quality. Damn it. Why didn't I do this sooner? So glad I got this for my birthday present. Shakotan FC. Okay, I'm out. Cheers. Eat a pig liver tonight. Later, bro. When did you become cool? Did you stop being vegan overnight? You used to be the Tassie protagonist, bro. What's going on here? Jem says, did you ever suffer with hair loss whilst vegan? No, I did not. This hair ain't going nowhere. There's a lot of it. I got a lot of grays now. Yeah. Keto Eyes is pure BS. Casey's bitter. The carnivores clowned him. Yep, they did. The Tassinator, dude. The Tassinator. Oh, I haven't seen Furious and Fast Tassie in a while. Ferocious Tassie. Where's he been? The hair is pullable. Shelly, please. Take it down a notch. Okay. Unless we got any last pressing questions, we are going to skedaddle out of the stream in a minute here. We got some things to do. But I'm having so much fun. I really miss streaming. Oh, by the way, guys, I have an interview this week. I don't know what that means for my channel. Your boy might be going back to the corporate world. I can't pass up this opportunity. It's I know it's a little bit sad to hear it, but it might definitely take down the midweek streaming. I don't think that I'll be able to do anything except for weekend streams. But I do have Rob Stewart coming on next week. Oh, and I got Mindful Diabetic Robbie coming on Wednesday, by the way. Don't miss that stream. Mindful Diabetic Robbie Wednesday, Rob Stewart next weekend. I have a job interview. Tomorrow's round 2. Round 2. And I have probably, if that goes well, then I'll have a follow-up later in the week with the higher up dudes. I think Robbie's still vegan. Yeah, he's still a diabetes coach, type 1 diabetic. Yeah. Yeah, JG, I'm thinking it's kind of a slam dunk. I have a lot of experience in this field. It's in the field of industrial hydraulics. There's not a lot of young people that are willing to go into this field that have some experience and knowledge in it. And yeah, I didn't want to go back to being a sales guy, but you know, it's the job that got away from me. Like, I never mastered it, and it pays well. And you know, it's not going to be the end of the world for me. It's going to be a good opportunity. I'd be a fool to say no. Thank you for the luck, guys. But yeah, so tomorrow I got another phone interview with the guy who'll be, you know, my boss. And then if that goes well, then I'm going to meet a couple of the higher up dudes later in the week. And if it goes well, then I will be doing a bit of traveling within California and a lot of driving. And I'll be making money, some very good money. Yep. So that will conclude like my 4-year hiatus from corporate life. You know, I was smart with my money. I saved up a bunch. I went to Hawaii with like $40,000. I made my company. I invested like, you know, a lot of that money into my company. And I'd love to sell it, actually. I'd love to sell the vegan dating app, but I don't think that's going to happen. But it was a big learning experience for me. And I've had to just kind of put it to rest for now. But yeah, fun while it lasted and whatnot, and fun while the 3.5 years hiatus from the corporate life lasted. I vowed to never go back. I thought that I would be able to take off with my own personal business, but I got a taste of that. Very interesting, expensive learning experience. Of course, I spent a lot of the money living in Hawaii and all this stuff. I did a little bit of Uber while I was there just to kind of like pay bills for a few months, no big deal. And then, yeah, so now we're back to square one, baby, back where we started. But you know, we're very robust on the meat. Our mind, clear, robust, durable. Round two interview tomorrow. That's the huge difference between you and Frank Drama R Us Tufano. You can actually get a real job. Man, I vowed never to go back to work again, man. It's a sad day. I wanted to be my own boss, not have to do that. But you know what? It's all a humbling experience, and it's not the worst thing in the world. And if your mind is durable and you're able to handle it, then you can go back and make it happen. And I'm going to get paid a good amount of money. So I'm going to finally get my pay. It's going to be worth it. Trust me. And hopefully I will still be able to stream and be around and be a figure for everybody. Keep working out. Keep sharing the streams and keep doing that stuff. Do a meat dating app. It's called Tinder, man. It's a meat market on Tinder. Go on there. Planetary Farms, my own boss for 6 years. Nice, man. What do you do, Planetary Farms? Next is the carnivore dating app. Everybody wants the carnivore dating app. I don't know about that. The first one was with a recruiter, actually. First one was with a recruiter. The recruiter contacted me. She liked my motivation and how quickly I was willing to interact with her. I immediately called her back that same day. And because of my experience in this particular industry, they wanted me, especially with my previous work experience with the company I was with before. It's like an extra gold star on top of all the actual experience that I have and the training that I have. And I don't want to speak too soon, but it's looking very good. The job title will be industrial hydraulic sales, outside sales, business to business. It's quite a niche old man's field, but I got into it when I was 26. I had some pretty extensive training throughout California with the company that I worked for before. I owe them a lot for my knowledge in this field. I got a pretty prestigious certification at the time with the Industrial Fluid Power Society, IFPS. It's a very difficult. I'm not an engineer, but I studied my butt off for like a whole month, and I took this test, and I think that really impressed the higher up people, and it kind of let me choose what I wanted to do next. It sort of proved myself before I even got into the field, and it let me tell them I want to be an outside salesperson. And I was the first person that they had promoted from I started out in the warehouse, and they gave me a job in industrial hydraulic sales. I had my own territory here in Orange County. And then I moved away from that position. I did web stuff from home for like 2 full years, which was awesome. I loved that. Planetary Farm says, I owned a grooming business. Now I'm online resale game. Oh, like Amazon for FBA or what? T-Tribby, Drew impresses everyone he meets. Pretty sure you'll get it. Thank you for the love. I don't think that's totally true. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Have you done a face-to-face yet? Not with these guys, but I know the guys. I already know the guys. So that's why I'm saying I'm feeling a little bit confident in this, because I met the dude who's going to be my boss. I met him when he first got hired at this company, when I got hired at my last company. So we were both kind of doing the beginning stages of sales together, him and his company and me and my company. But they're the manufacturer and I work for a distributor. So they were selling us the product. One of many products. I've sold thousands of different products, hundreds of different brands. Eco Steve's due for the second interview. Nice. Yes, it will be a huge boost to this channel. Money, as far as what I need for money, I already have the setup. I mean, I got the camera. I got the best camera money can buy. That was a gift from Elise for my birthday. I've already got a freaking badass computer that can do all this cool stuff. And should be, I got the headphones. I got what else do I need, But the boost to the channel will be that I will be able to survive for the foreseeable future very well. And hopefully be able to do some traveling and bring some more cool, interesting content to you guys. Planetary Farm says, lots of money on eBay. I'm not making millions, but I get to stay at home with my kids, live comfortably. Awesome. Yeah. Email me or hit me up on Instagram and let me know what it is that you're up to. I'm always interested in these type of things. I've done a lot of research on like Forex, Amazon FBA, stuff like that. Obviously, what I'm going to be going into is like full-blown corporate sales life, traveling a bit, taking people to dinner, doing all that stuff, selling big industrial hydraulic equipment. Gets very technical, but it's also like a personality-based job. You have to be willing to show up face-to-face with people and be likable and know how to communicate with people and work deals and stuff like that. Okay, says, newer, been working but working every day on my dairy farm and struggle, so I can say that's not so bad. Working someone other and make decent money. I agree. Anita says Elisa's a sweet girlfriend. That she is. Big time. Gung Fu says, you don't need any new upgrades set up. The quality is in the content of what you bring in. I agree, baby. It's about the guests. And just bring in that experience to the table. Okay, guys, the chat is dying down, going to sleep. We're gonna catch the fade out music here, and I hope you all have a good rest of your Sunday. Remember, Mindful Diabetic Robbie Wednesday, and we should be having Rob Stewart next Saturday. We're already set up for the week of streaming, so. Should be good to go, all right? Peace out. I'm going to go hit the gym. See you guys. You're welcome, JG.